Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Have you subscribed? Yes, you. Have you subscribed? You. Yeah, before you go, click. It's free. Click. Just that's it. Have you subscribed? You're laughing. Have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, madam, thank you so much. I can see you. I can see you. We have to get to 100,000 subscribers. This by the end of the year. How are we going to do that if you don't subscribe? Yes, you. Yes, you're about to click off. Why? Have you subscribed? It's free. If you don't, ask your son, ask your daughter how to. Just one click. Thank you. Thank you. I see you. Aha. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Where is KJ? KJ, this is for you. I appreciate.
You're muted.
Yeah, I've been trying to come on. I don't know what you guys did. The system has been changed, so I can't seem to get myself on.
Oh.
Yes, but it's okay. Since you got me here now, maybe to work from my own end right now. I don't know. Okay, right. I think I have some form of control right now. Okay, thank you so much. I followed all the discussion. I'm sorry, just like Chim said, I was a bit falling off to sleep. It was a bit slow for me. But if you are with us, thank you so much for joining, and we would like you to subscribe. In fact, if everybody who has been subscribing by now would have stopped preaching this gospel of subscription. It's very important because the more you subscribe, the more we have audience and the more we can get to send the message across to everyone who needs to hear it. Because the way things are going right now in Nigeria, we need to preach more. We need to shout it shout it at the rooftop. We need to talk about the situations going on, because sometimes it's like it's not even a country. I mean, you hear and see what goes on. Even those ones that are written on the black and white is still being given different interpretation, and there are people who are ready to defend it. However, we're just going to dive into what has been discussed so far by our guests, and we'll just go ahead. Dr. Dominic, I can see you. Are you ready to make more contribution to what you heard today, and how you feel about what he said?
Greetings, KJ. Long time. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, sir. Thank you so much.
I spoke to Rudolph about this on the prior broadcast. What I wanted to ask him was if he can decide not to accept certain people who are trying to get into his party. But according to Rudolph, Prince had already answered that question by saying that the law does not allow you to block anyone from joining. So whether you like that person or not, you still have to accept that person. And so it becomes a question of to what extent are you going to allow that person to have free reign in your party, and at some and you have some kind of I guess, would you have the ability to kick that person out if that person starts to misbehave in the party? I also heard someone talk about, he always pivots to talking about Obi, but I mean, at the end of the day, Obi is the popular candidate, sort of like the beautiful bride in terms of the opposition. So it makes sense politically to always put himself as a better alternative than Obi. So he would always mention Obi. I have no issues with that whatsoever. I think where I have a little bit of an issue is he speaks very politically, which is understandable. He speaks with measured verbiage. I think at this point in time, with how Nigeria is on fire, you should, as someone who is in the opposition, I don't know whether he considers himself opposition, but as someone who is in the opposition, I would think he would have the confidence to call a spade a spade. You can still be diplomatic, but call out things that are very ugly. I believe he made a statement where he said SDP members in the House and Senate had consulted with the party, and their position was that they are not in agreement with the current rubber stamping or endorsement of Tinubu's declaration of state of emergency in or to be honest, martial law in Rivers State. So I think I was actually happy that he made that categorical statement. But I think there were other things where he was skirting around the corners and trying to be very diplomatic. Now, whether he's doing it because he knows there are going to be more people joining his party, and so he doesn't want to turn anyone off, I don't know. But I think in this day and age, politicians should be able to stand on principle and be able to call a spade a spade. When things are going wrong, you have to be the voice of reason. Because at the end of the day, like all 200 plus million Nigerians are not going to be able to have the leverage to call things out. But if you're in a place where you have the platform and the leverage to call things out and call a spade, you should speak out. That's my submission for today.
Okay, I thank you, because I also agree totally with what you've said, and that's where I have an issue with his what he talked about today. He said something that I find a bit I don't know how to say it. You At this point, the strength of SDP is not strong enough to take over Nigeria. You must have to have an alliance somewhere. You cannot seem to disagree with everything. But when and I mean, that's what Ayo, if you notice the video that was played last, was holding. Yeah, you can't seem to say you don't agree with it, but immediately the person won by hook or by crook. Say, let's support him. You see, I don't know. Please track with me. This is what is repeating itself again. Now the National Assembly have approved state of emergency, and all they are doing is to say, for instance, SDP is saying we don't agree with it. So what next? What do Nigerians do when they don't agree with it? What should be the next step line up? That's what I want to. Can you talk on that?
I think I don't want to take too much because I know Ike and the rest other people have to speak.
No, I see them. I'm coming to them.
Yeah.
Everybody has time.
I don't want to be accused of favoritism, of you being nepotist or
No.
yeah. I think
I'll talk to everybody.
in terms of next steps, I've already started seeing some moves being made. I think the ground swelling for a political and social revolution, the first steps are usually enlightenment, conversation. You have to get the you have to get the polity, you have to get the heartbeat of society, see where people are, how people view things. On the social media, which is sort of the easiest way to kind of assess that, what you see are people who are saying, hey, things are messy there politically. Obara, there was, I'm not going to rehash the history, but there were a lot of stuff that happened between party, people, members of the house, cross carpeting to different party, coming back again, the house being destroyed, and now they didn't allow him into the governor's house, into the house, and then some other time he had presented the budget to about 4 house members, a lot of political imbroglio, if you want to call it, or madness that has been going on, and then Wike sort of assigned to assert himself. I'm not going to go into all that, but is there a political crisis in Rivers State? Yes. Is the political crisis affecting the governance of the state to the extent that it engenders the security and welfare of the people of the state? I'm not quite sure, but I would err on the side of caution and saying it's not very apparent. So, is there any excuse to have this declaration of emergency? Probably not. By the end of the day, Nigeria is a place where we're used to all kinds of madness happening and things being turned upside down. Was it not in this country that they removed the Chief Justice? So, in a very back door sort of manner, people just talked, and nothing happened. I think the next steps is, like I said, political consciousness, taking a heartbeat of the society. I think now is the most critical time to have political commentators, activists, sensitize people to understand that this is not normal. Because one issue with Nigeria is things happen, abnormal things happen. People say, "Oh, this is the usual pattern is going to take," but it takes 1 or 2 people to change that mindset. I've seen Shawore started talking about things. I've seen, I think, I can't remember his name. He had the interview with Shawore as well. He was one of the commentators. Start to sensitize people on why this is wrong. Lawyers like Falana pointing out the legal aspect. So people understand that this is not normal behavior. This is not normal. Because at the end of the day, if people don't speak out, people who are quote unquote enlightened don't speak out, everybody is going to take it as business as usual. The market man is going to go to his market. The lawyer is going to go to his office. The doctor is going to mind his business. Nigeria as it is, everyone just minds their business. Nobody takes everyone thinks politics and governance is left to the politicians. Nobody feels that it is very personal. So you have to engage the people, and it is when you engage people that you understand what's going on. I agree with someone else's recent submission that actually it is better that the mind and hearts of these politicians are blocked, so they don't realize what is going on, so that people will get annoyed to the point that they will say enough is enough to ignite this revolution. That's
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's go to Ike. Ike, what is your own take on all he said? And do you think he's in a position to actually make a difference from where we are now politically and otherwise in the governance of Nigerian space?
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Dr. Dominic, how are you? Happy to see you.
Good afternoon, sir.
My brother Tony, God bless you. KJ, God bless you. I was going off and on because I'm in the office. So, but I want to thank Brother Ekene because exactly what Ekene was a general comment I wanted to do, but Ekene spoke my mind, right? This guy is just, like Dominic said, he's intelligent. So he want to use some political talks to corner us to the corner. But listen, my mind is already made up about the guy. This is APC. He's not hiding it from day one. So all these political languages and grammars they try to use to confuse us, the common man in the street. We have seen this drama before, so I'm not surprised of his answers to questions. He tried to dodge a lot of questions with so many, dramas and, I mean, see, who in Nigeria doesn't talk about Mr. P2B? If you don't talk about Mr. P2B for one day, then there is nothing happening in Nigeria. You must have to mention the man, Mr. P2B, because he is like Dominic said, he's the only opposition party, the only opposition political party we have in Nigeria. And they themselves, the opposition themselves, they are confirming it by themselves. It's not me that is saying it. So everybody will always say something about Mr. P2B in order to make people listen to it. But in general, my brother KJ, there was nothing he said there that I don't know that is special or, SDP they don't have a place, it was the Chim was asking him, where is your base in 2023? What is the SDP base? Where did you go to campaign? You didn't do campaign anywhere. Where is your base? I mean, he tried to Romarogue, he tried to dance everything all about. At the end of the day, ended up saying he was in Enugu, he was in insecurity, this and that, he was not enough, Mr. P2B went to the remotest place in Meduguri. They told him he can never go there, but he went there. So I don't know what the problem with the Southeast, even though we know there are some skirmishes in Southeast, but during that time, political parties were going to the Southeast to do their campaign. So I didn't get anything he was saying because it's just, SDP has been as an offshoot of APC for a very long time. But like somebody asked a question here, you are not speaking, you are not making a comment, you are not talking to the press. You have the platform, you have the power, you have the resources, you have the mandate to speak about what government is doing, whether it's good or bad. He's not commenting because he can't say anything against Emiloko. So it is just what it is, right? So I really do not. For SDP, people are rushing into SDP. They're talking about SDP, and today El-Rufai has become a saint. No, El-Rufai can never be a saint. You understand what I mean? Because I'm going to, when it is the time of El-Rufai, we're going to lay down his crime in Nigeria. Then we'll be able to see. So all these political juggling all this political movement, all this alignment, the coalition, this and that, and that, and that. I am holding my principle, Mr. Peter Obi, in 3 words. And all these things that people are saying, I'm not interested until I hear, until he will speak to Nigeria himself. What am I going to hold him for? In this program, he said, I think it was Show that asked him that question. Are there people in Nigeria that you cannot work with? He said it. He didn't think about it 1 second. He said yes. Because he cannot work for those, he can never work with all those rascalities that is going on. There are people that he cannot work with politically. So I am holding that war. And again, they ask him, are you part of this coalition and whatever? He said, if it is the coalition to grab power, I am not going to be part of it. That is the second point where I am holding him. The third one is, you cannot enter through the window and you want to sweep the house. The process. Those are the 3 things. I am waiting. When all this movement, all this talking, all this conversation is going around until when I hear Mr. Peter Obi make his final decisions and statement, then that's where I will come to know what I'm going to tell him, because these are the 3 things. All these ones, they are speaking, they are going conversation, they are making alliance, this and that. I'm not interested until I hear him speak. Tell us where he's standing, because now you, KJ, or me, or anybody can say this is where they know that Mr. Peter Obi is standing. Even based on what he said this weekend in Enugu State, he's still telling you that he's still a member of Labour Party. And the people that have left Labour Party, don't get angry with them, because they might eventually end up coming back. So we shouldn't quarrel with people who decide to leave their party. So where are we? So I am not going to go into conclusion. He's already discussing with the SDP, discussing with that. No. But okay, for me to allow somebody else to say something, this respected young man, this barrister, I respect him. He's very calm, he's intelligent, he's smart. But politics of Nigeria, I don't think he's ready to play politics in Nigeria.
All right.
AJ, I just want to make a quick clarification.
Yes.
Prince said, said something about, I'm not even an obedience, but what he said I knew was not even correct. He said something to the tune of the obedience losing their party. The obedient movement is separate from the Labour Party. When Obi joined Labour Party, the swelling of the obedience movement, or maybe what you can call the socio-political consciousness, improved socio-political consciousness post-SARS, morphed into the obedient movement and followed someone who they think represented what they wanted, which is Obi, and followed him to Labour Party. So there's a difference between. So I think it's a little bit mischievous to say the obedience lost their party, as if.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Something.
The director of the obedient, the director of media for the obedient movement, I know very well, Nana Kazuri, and so I know that it's not the same thing. But let's move on. You see, there's a lot of things we're going to punch you, and that's I'm coming to Mr. Tony with that. He said that the opposition should not be in the move of making comment in social comment. You're not a social commentator. I cannot be commenting on everything. I take an offense to that. In fact, it's annoying, because what else will the opposition be doing apart if not for making and calling government out anytime they take a wrong step? So, Mr. Tony, while you answering your, what you think, can you also list into that and let's hear your own view? Should a political and what do you call them now? A party that's not in government not be able to take on policies of government that are wrong? Should they not be an opponent? And should they be called it? Should they think themselves as a political commentators or a shadow party? I mean, shadow government, as is known in other parts of the world.
Yeah, greetings, KJ, and greetings, Doctor, and Pastor I, greetings. Who else is there? I can't see very well. Greetings to you. First of all, opposition is angling to take over political power. So In doing that, you have to sell yourself to the people so that they get to know you, get to know your programs, and so on. And one way of doing that is is to look at the government in power and then highlight the things they're doing wrong and what you will do much better than they're doing. And we didn't seem to see that in the discussion. But let's put that aside. You could see that there's a mindset. I asked him a question. And the question is part of what caused the problem with him when he appeared on Arise television. And one of the questions they asked him, and I thought it was Rufai, and he was insisting that he should answer, but of course he didn't want to, and it caused a little bit of uproar there. It was the question when he was talking about rigging. That was the question I asked him. Now, he didn't answer that question because maybe he didn't quite get what I was trying to ask. When he talked about those who rigged the election, according to him, he allegedly said APC rigged the election. And then he said PDP rigged the election. But when it came to Labour, he personalized it. He said Obi rigged the election. So I asked him that question, and I don't know if you understood the question, where I was going to. So it was not Labour Party that rigged, according to him. It was Obi that rigged. You understand? So I wanted him to give some clarification. I said, do you have evidence as a lawyer? And then he just went around and just beat about the bush and so on and so forth. I thought he would, maybe if he's the CM would say, can you give me one evidence? One, just one. So maybe that was the mistake I made, give me one evidence. So Obi rigged the election. So what is the evidence that Obi rigged the election? We didn't see it all through the discussion. So there's a mindset that you can see clearly from what he's saying. I am an obedient. I'm an obedient. I won't hide it. Even though I had voted APC in the past, I have some very close association with APC. But I'm looking, like I said it here on the platform, that I looked at, all of them. I looked at all of them, and I looked at, what I think that they were saying, listen to them, carefully analyze them. And I think that the one that has a clear message that people can relate to and understand is Obi. And the one that appeared to have an ideology, a philosophy, is Obi. That is why today, the most dreaded movement in the political arena in Nigeria is the obedient movement. They have tried to decimate them. They have tried to use media to rub, shit all over them. Just say something against Obi, and you see, Obi doesn't need to tell anybody to react, and you see the reaction. You see how they'll react. And some of them have learned lessons that you just don't come and say nonsense because you want to smear somebody and so on. And you see that in a political discourse every time. Is Obi, Yoruba man and Hausa man will quarrel is Obi. Something else is Obi. And Obi is the most vociferous of all of them. I know he looked at the issues, he criticized the government, he makes suggestions and so on. That's how opposition should. None of them, not Atiku, not him, not Prince, not even Showore. I'm not a Showore man. I don't mean to offend Showore people. So I think the point is that you see, I was trying to look at SDP to see where their power base belongs. And if you look at it, I'm not sure, I need someone to correct me. You see that it's concentrated on a particular region of Nigeria. That's where if they have made any showing, But it appeared more like a purpose. What is it they call it? Vehicle. What is it? Special purpose vehicle. That you use because people come there and they go. People come there, they go. People come there, so it's going and coming. But apart from that, the other thing that I see is that there appears to be some media coverage of SDP that all the other parties are not getting. Now, with 2027 approaching, you would normally expect there'll be shuttling and jostling, and people will be moving. trying to reposition and, trying, to look at where, they can have the, the best advantage in terms of positioning or getting what they want. So there are some parties that have not had that kind of coverage. I know that, for a fact, so that they are speaking to, it's probably because El Rufai is loud. I've seen, for instance, on Facebook where someone put Atiku as presidential candidate and Obi as his vice for SDP. And there's no such thing going on. At least we know from what has been said, there's no such thing. So there are people who are trying to spotlight SDP. They have had some, advantage in terms of media coverage. And if you look at SDP properly, you will see that, and I know that some of these politicians are very smart, like Obi, and they will be looking at, what's going on. And I think, like someone like I said, I think it's correct. There's some sort of relationship between SDP and APC. I can tell you that.
All
So,
right.
but
Thank you. I'll get back to you. Thank you so much. Comrade Omoyere.
Omoruyi.
You have heard Omoyere.
Omoruyi.
Omoruyi. That's my
Omoruyi.
brother.
Don't forget again. Omoruyi. Comrade, you have heard what he has said. I particularly have an issue when an opposition party says they are not supposed to be social commentators. I have a big problem with that. So, in trying to, understand what you have said today and explain to us, or whether our viewers are able to catch up, what do you think? I come back to that because I think the role of the opposition is very important in every democracy. It's even much more important than the news media, because you are supposed to look in and bring out what is hidden to the public. When a opposition leader says they are not supposed to be social commentators, I don't understand it. Please, let us understand.
Yeah, there is no better way to explain it. The guy, I have so much respect for him. Intelligent person, smart person, he has intimidating credentials, no doubt. But today, I think I've just seen the other side of Adewale. So come back to your question. In the days of NCSC and the other political parties, Awolowo was named the opposition leader for a reason. The roles of opposition party is as important as the government in power, even more important than the government in power. They prevent the government in power for becoming autocratic and dictatorial. They checkmate them from time to time. They play a very huge role. To say that he doesn't want to be a social commentator like Showere, was to say there is an attempt to hook all of us, or to put a wool on our faces. I think from what I saw of Adebayo today, I don't have my facts, but I don't blame those that feel there's a nexus between SDP and APC. You don't blame those that see him as a stooge for Bola Tinubu. I have never been so convinced. If there's anybody you want me to choose apart from Showere, the reason why I follow Showere is not because of whether he will win today or he will win tomorrow, because of his consistency over the past 3 decades. If it's not fake, if it's fake, by now it will have expired. You cannot use an expired drug for more than 5 years. Either the drug kills you or you kill the drug. So for somebody to be around for like 35 years, you can't even eat fake food for more than a year, without discovering it. Either the food kills you or you do away with the food. So for being around for 35 years consistently, he has fought the military. We were there together in the trenches. He's back to civilians. Those that accuse him of, supporting Buhari, have seen him be incarcerated by Buhari. Those that accuse him of being a stooge for Tinubu have seen him fighting Tinubu, even saying that Tinubu will be the catalyst that will lead to the much awaited revolution. If people are still castigating Showere for being a stooge for anybody, I think they're not being honest to him, or they're just trying to play, to score some cheap political goals. Today, I'll be more convinced that Adebayo is playing some, sorry to say this, it's not here. If I had time to, meet him one-on-one, I would tell him. I saw him battling arise to, to do away with the questions he was confronted with. But today, the way they are going, don't forget, in the build-up to 2023, Tinubu was almost on his way to SDP. So there are those that have the conviction that he has, don't forget this, the genesis of SDP. This was the party of late MKO. And if there's any party from that time till now, the only party that has been around is this SDP. And don't forget the relationship between the old SDP and Jagaban. And we have it in good authority that Jagaban has been a powerful financial of SDP. So from the way he dribbled us today, trying to, he's a smart guy, I give it to him, but I don't think the opposition are seeing the bigger elephant in the room. The state hijack, the compromise of institutions. They are not serious. I think they are just bunch of jokers, running around to make it easier, even for APC in 2027. By now, I expect them to have a platform. Even when you are negotiating with somebody or you're forming a coalition, whatever, will be negotiating from the position of strength. Not still. I mean, going back to Labour is not something I wish for Peter Obi, but I'm not his advisor. Going back to BDP too is not something I wish for Obi. But by now to say 2027 is around the corner of Obi and no platform, it does not portray a good political omen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm coming to you, Dr. Dominic. What Comrade just said is very important. At this hour, remember what was Obi's problem the last time was that he entered the race too late. But this is 2025. We have 2 more years to get to 2027. At this hour, should this comment coming from the SDP former presidential candidate be coming from him now, that he still don't know where Obi stands? And we ourselves, who are political watchers, and even those who are interested in Obi, who are obedient, don't have an inclination of what he is thinking. I remember that Valentine, the other time, said even Obi was going to move. The reason why he moved ahead. Why is it taking him long to come out and say, look, I'm forming a party with obedience, or we are moving to this level, this place? What is holding him from starting the race early? Because this is not a 100-meter dash. It's a marathon. Don't you think that he should have put his out together right now?
Is that a question for me or for Tony?
Yes, sir, it's for you.
It's all about Prince Adewole. I'm going to answer this question a little bit differently. The issue I have with when people talk about forming a strong opposition or a third force is people don't explain what they mean, right? And from the political calculations and movement that I've often seen, at least in the last 2 elections, in terms of alignment and realignment, is people are aligning and realigning, forming measures because they want to wrestle power from the incumbent. No one has clearly delineated or stated that they are trying to take power because they want the betterment of people or for good governance. Right? That's the problem I have. So for me, I don't really waste my time trying to figure out who wants to create a third force or who wants to create a measure. What I have not seen anyone who seriously warrants the respect or the energy for me to waste to try to understand the ideology if they have not expressed a significant degree of respect for the people whose past history has indicated they're actually there for the people. That's why I don't follow most of these people, and that's why when Sowore makes the argument, everyone who knows me here knows I'm an avid follower of Sowore, not because I think he's going to be a good president, but because the way his style of politics or his style of expressing himself is something I admire. Because with Nigeria, which is full of madness, you have to have some level of harshness or brashness when you express yourself, talk about things of Nigeria. You can't just be someone who's mellow. Because remember, you're speaking to people who have been traumatized. And so you have to get people who have been traumatized to understand that they are traumatized and they need to change and they need to support better candidates. You have to be a little harsh. You have to give them, the what do you call it, tough love. So when people call Showore and say he's being brash, he's being disrespectful, I often wonder, are these not people who are seeing, who live in Nigeria? Are they not seeing what's happening? That you can't be mellow when it comes to trying to correct or sensitize people in Nigeria. But anyway, that's how I'm going to answer it. I don't really subscribe to all these talk about measures and third force because, quite frankly, it is all the same political elites, Harani and realigning. Okay, Erufai now, horrible security history when it comes to his state. Some may argue he's a religious bigot. I mean, what happened in Southern Kaduna is amounts to killing of people who are not of the other of his religion, and him turning a blind eye and not really doing much. Some may make the argument that governors don't control the security infrastructure, but I would also make the opposite argument that governors have incredible influence in sort of molding the security infrastructure in the ways they want. So could he have still done something? Yes. Did he do enough? No. So I have no interest in such individuals aligning and trying to form a third force. If it comes out being a viable third force to oppose Tinubu, I don't think the Nigerian people are going to gain from it. Because at the end of the day, what Nigerians need is not a viable third force. What they need is someone who actually will wrestle power, not for political gain, but to actually serve the people.
All right. I thank you. Again, that's why I've said many times on this panel that Showore remains somebody I dock my cap for. Because what you just said is the truth situation in Nigeria. If you want to wrestle this power, you got to get dirty. You see, and if anybody doubts that, look at what played out in River State, and which we'll touch a bit of before we leave today. But Mr. Ike, let me come to Mr. Ike. What is your, what so far we put, is there any other way that the opposition or the party, the SDP, can change the dynamics? Because now, one of the things I didn't hear him say is how he's going to wrestle with the likes of Erufai, Atiku, and the others who are coming in now. Is he going to give them the ticket? Are they going to vie for it? What is the thing? How is SDP going to be different from what we saw in all these other parties? We saw in PDP and APC that presidential ticket was bought and sold, to the highest bidder.
Okay, Jay, before I delve into I want to talk a little bit more when after my brother Mori, you said about P2B doesn't have a platform for now. Some of us who are ardent follower of Mr. P2B, and if you discreetly know what that man is going through in Nigeria, that Mr. P2B is still standing in Nigeria, there are so many forces planted around Mr. P2B that is working 24 hours every day, getting every little bit of information what this man, his next move is going to be. This is a man that is under a kind of pressure and surveillance from the government. He's going through a lot. But sometimes we that are not too close, we will not really understand. Tony, if you follow last week or last 2 weeks, Obedient Movement, they had a program in Asaba, and Northeast was launched, I think, last 2 weeks ago. So this movement, people think that the Obedient Movement right now is no more what it was in 2023. This is a movement now that is more than bigger what we saw in 2020. A lot of people has left, but most of them has come back because now they have realized that.
But many more have come, particularly in the north.
See, they have now realized that there must be a foundation laid. There must be a process. There must be a standing, order for you to be able to have the political clout in Nigeria to make demand. and to put yourself in a position where you can say, this is what I want. And this is what this man has been doing with obedience for all this for the past 1 year or 2 years right now. And we are approaching to the final point. So in the issue of people want him to tell us what is next. There are too many things the young man is going through, to be honest. But I just pray that God keep all of us alive, and we see where we end it up by God's willing. And for SDP of a thing, KJ, you have been in, Nigerian politics. What this Mr. Prince Adebayo is saying here, if eventually it end up that Atiku and El-Rufai and also political wing join SDP, they're going to kick him out of SDP. What is he going to do? What is he saying? He's going to contest the election with them. They have their party have structure, they have principle, they have this, they have that. They don't accept the money. They don't want people to donate house for them. Listen, if truly that we know that officially El-Rufai has joined. Maybe you know El-Rufai more than me. This man, anybody that is dealing with this man, if he is supposed to use a very long spoon. So if this guy, if eventually all these rumors we are hearing, everybody clock around SDP, he is going to be kicked out of SDP. He will run away from SDP because all those things he's trying to run away from, or what he wants the party to look like, is not what these people are bringing on the table. These people are bringing on the table to take over power from APC, not really that they care about you and me, or they're talking about the interests of Nigeria. So for them to be able to do that, he cannot be saying, oh no, you have to be a member, you have to be this, you have to be that. SDP, if there are genuine and honest Nigerians that are trying to join the political party to, to really fight for a better Nigeria for every one of us, it's an opportunity for them now to be able to, to be a very strong political party and have a base and have structure and have, have faces in every state of Nigeria. So they are the beautiful bride right now. But my point remains that if eventually these political crooks in Nigeria gang up in SDP, today is 23rd of March. This man is not going to, he's not even going to take part in the presidential primary of that election in his own political party called SDP. So I think that Nigerians themselves, because I will end like this. When the problem started a lot in Labour Party, people were telling Mr. Peter Obi to leave Labour Party and form a political party. He told everybody, yes, it's a good idea to form a political party. But the same thing you are running away from Labour Party, the same people is going to come over to the same new political party and destroy the same new political party. So this is Nigeria, that you cannot run away from all these things going on. But what is important is that by the time you have shown the world what you stand for, everybody will abandon you. Those people you started the race with, everybody is going to leave you. And by the people trying to find out you're kind of a man, you are going to get people who will stand by you. There might be very few at the beginning. Because it's not the issue of forming a political party is the problem. But the same thing you want to run away from, the same people, the same group of people, they are going to flock that new political party, turn it the same thing you run away from where you are trying to be. So that he wants to see how far he can go by trying to resolve the problem in Labour Party. But he cannot do it by imposing himself. He wants party democracy to take place in Labour Party. He's not going to tell anybody what they're supposed to do. You have to follow the process to the end. And they still have that case in court. I think that's why he has not been making a comment about their last case in the Supreme Court. I think finally, maybe when the case is over, maybe he will be able to tell Nigerians what is his next move.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Bro Ike, thank you so much. Well, let's welcome Mr. Humble. Stay humble. Stay humble is, yeah, sometimes we agree with him, sometimes we we argue with him, but he comes across with somebody with a depth understanding of Nigerian politics. So you have listened to us, and you must have your own view. So what do you take away from the interview with Adebayo, Prince Adebayo?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to join this evening. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to join in earlier when everyone was contributing. Um, I had a family meeting too, so I'm not a very big fan of Prince Adewole. Yeah, yeah, I don't really see him as the most serious man in the world. Um, he's someone I see, someone that speaks from both sides of the mouth. Um, Sometimes he makes good submissions, and sometimes, he's not. He could be quite hypocritical and a bit dishonest about some issues. Especially, he mouths this mantra that Peter Obi also rigged the election. That's what you might hear from someone that secretly cuts the APC or Nigeria's political establishment. Yeah, so he's very happy. He looks very delighted that people like El Rufai are joining SDP. And yeah, I wonder what kind of compatibility they hope to strike. And given the antecedents of El Rufai, and also even Adewale himself doesn't have the most excellent political background. But yeah, they might make a good combination. Given that they don't have the most decent ideologies politically. I don't see Peter be joining SDP. To be honest, I don't want him to join them because I don't see the elements in SDP as people who have the intention of moving Nigeria forward. Um, so I listened to his submissions. I listened to a large part of his responses to the first part of the show when Dr. Damages was asking him questions and stuff, and then when the panelists were asking him questions and how he tried to evade some of the questions and stuff, which I envisaged, that he would do, which he had always done. So yes, he didn't really sound convincing about some of the things he set out to do. He might not contest in 2027 if there will be election really in 2027. Peter Obi for now wouldn't join any party, and Peter Obi was right not to go trying to set up political parties, but to continue to work on the foundational things, like meeting people, building bridges, which they've always said we needed the Southeast needed to build bridges. They will always say you need to build bridges. So Peter Obi has been building those bridges, because it's only the Southeast that need to build bridges to, get to some positions. Other people would not need to. We didn't need to burn the bridge, and existing, and then still get there. So he's building those bridges, which is very important. You know, um, to more important than investing in political parties. He's investing money also in people. He's investing money in education. He's investing money in health, which is very important. He's building human capacity, which is very important, far more important than investing in buildings, in offices, in all these things, giving people money to share, which at the end of the day, one government decree or whatever, the government might even say, pass a law, the eyes have it. Akpabio and his gang may say, oh, there might be no election again. The eyes have it. And all those investments in setting up political parties and offices will be in vain. So I think it's more prudent to invest in people, invest in human capital. If you conduct a street poll anywhere in Nigeria today and say, who will you vote for? I believe 70 to 80% of people will say they will vote for Peter Obi. So I don't think it's a no-brainer that if you conduct any election of any sort, that there is no manipulation of it, and Peter Obi will win it clean. You understand my point? So I don't think Peter Obi even needs to campaign. Peter Obi doesn't need to even set up any office. If Nigeria is even half serious about elections or even, setting up a government, sort of. And then some people are coming up with things like, electoral reform. We have one of the most sophisticated electoral systems in the world. We have invested in all sorts of sophisticated equipment. Look at other countries that conduct free and fair elections. What do they have? Just paper and pen, and they conduct elections. You say you want to invest in 1,770 something polling agents. What for? Why do you need to pay people money to protect votes? Is it not the responsibility of the government to protect the votes of the citizens? Why do you need to pay some thugs and people to protect the votes? That's absolutely nonsensical.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Nonsensical. Wasting money on things that are irrelevant.
I agree with you. Stay humble. It was designed that way deliberately, so you stay humble. If you want to run for local government chairman in your state, you cannot, because by the time you don't have offices in all the localities, then you're not qualified. That's it. That I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
So if you want to,
Exactly.
if Obi now want to run, let's say he forms his own political party, and those parties don't have offices all the Federation of Nigeria, then he's not qualified. That's one of the criteria. You must have office in every state, in every local government. You must have at least one staff. Okay, so when you check those huge costs, you find out that nobody will have that kind of. So it is now left for the thieves and the baboons and the squirrels that we have in government today to continuously to perpetuate themselves in it. And somebody tells me that the resources of River State will not be involved. I don't know why anybody would think that way. However, unless somebody has something else to say, we'll just touch the hottest issue now in Nigeria, and then we'll move to close. Anybody has anything to say concerning Adebayo? Yes, sir. Prince, Comrade, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I've had a conversation with my brother, Stay Humble, one or two, something like that in the past. Yet, there's no doubt about the popularity of Peter Obi. There are a lot of things working for Peter Obi's advantage, credibility, decency, whatever. A lot of people have every reason to support Peter Obi. Even in the last dispensation, I said it repeatedly that when you put Obi side by side with Atiku and Jagaban, it's likened to the story in the Bible, the Barabbas and the two. I mean, Jesus Christ in the midst of Barabbas and the other criminal. So, having said that, Obi's credibility is not enough. I know he has to work with other people. So, saying that he's going back to Labour Party, seeing what has become of the Arambabis of this world and my brother, my uncle, Aburi of this world, look at what a lot of people rode under the back of Obi and Labour obedient movement to National Assembly and state. The one in my state has not gone back to APC. Most of them in the National Assembly are back to APC. So the slogan then, one of the things that worked for Obi then was that, this is a new party. This one has no dents. APC and BDP are the same. Obedient Labour that was the slogan. And it was a popular one at that. And it was very, very advantageous for the obedient movement. Going back to me waiting for Labour right now, for me, but I've been around for some time. I'm not the oldest person, but I've been around for some time to know that going back to Labour is not the best Obi for now. And going back to SDP is even like a political suicide. I wish you could just have a platform where you can gather his like mice, first of all. I know they cannot win the election alone, but whoever that is joining them, at least you have a say and control over what they want for their party, ideologically and otherwise. That's my humble submission. Saying by now, you see, shopping around. Shopping around who? SDP, Labour, or PDP. It's not the best thing Obi should do for now, because he should not mismanage this popularity. After 2023, it took me like a week to recover from the shock. What I came up with, the first thing I said on this platform was that it wasn't a complete loss. Only if we can sustain that tempo or consolidate on it. But between 2023 and now, I mean, we have gone back to, I mean, the victory, it wasn't failure for me. If we could garner 6.something million within a few months, you know, look at those that rode rode on his back. I mean, I expected him to hold them together, consolidate on that, I mean, sustain that, consolidate on that towards 2027. Labor for now, you know, it will be difficult to convince people, considering the fight in labor and the ambition, you know, the corruption that has even, you know, taken over labor. It will be difficult to convince a sane Nigerian that labor is different from APC and PDP. They have not gotten into power. They have not gotten into office. Look at the level of corruption. Not even one vote, not even one vote, not even one voice could form a formidable opposition in the house. When they share the money, they are sharing the same thing. When sharing the SUV, there is a saying in politics that minority will have their way. Majority will always, majority will have their way, but minority will always have their say. We are not getting any say from anywhere. And those that want to justify that will tell you, they didn't even know those that were contesting on that label. Are we going to repeat that the same, same excuse and same pleas for 2027? They made us understand now. Look at what you have voted for. Look at the obedience and the labor you made us to believe we were different from APC and PDP. Those ones were contributed. That was one factor that contributed to the popularity of the obedient movement, apart from Obi's credibility as a person. Now, look at what has become of those that were elected under Labour. They are not different from APC and PDP. So coming around to tell us, Labour, this is a different platform, will not fly. He didn't fly in Edo, he didn't fly in Ogun, he's not going to fly anywhere. I have no doubt that Obi is still very popular. But going back, I say again, I repeat here, going back to Labour or PDP will do more harm to Obi than good. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. So, yes. Tony, you are putting up your hand, or we should move on?
Yeah, I just want to, yes, I like to subscribe to the views of Ike and the guy who spoke before, Maury, what's his name? Stay humble. But just to add that I think that we are belittling the whole gamut, the entire struggle to capture political power. It's if you go to history, it's never a very easy struggle to take power from people who have a stranglehold on the political system, because those people are ready to bring anything down if they see that they're losing, and they're going to do anything. It's like a Machiavelli policy, you know. So if they have to kill, they'll kill. If they have to steal, they'll steal. If they have to give money, they talk to you and you're not ready to accept, you know, then they look for other ways. You know, for some of those people, there's nothing like morals. It's the end that justifies the means. So against that background, I think you have to understand the predicament that Obi is in. For me, I think that if you look at what he has done within the very short period that he had, he did excellently well. And we know that he won the election. Now, my reading of the situation is that all the political parties, including the ruling party, are talking to Obi, begging, forcing, threatening, intimidating, whatever. Because Obi is, look, listen, let's read the political tempo very well. For today, if you want to be fair-minded, you just cannot dismiss Obi as a strong factor in the political equation of Nigeria. You just can't. To beat his former master took away nearly almost half of what he had in terms of support and followership, and then to beat Asiwaju, not just in Lagos, but also in his constituency, hands down. And they had to manipulate the vote in such a way that it was difficult for them to get to a point where they will give themselves more votes than what Obi has scored. So I think we are underrating and belittling what Obi has done. Now, in Nigeria, maybe we seem to belittle him But outside, they know that this is the political juggernaut. Now, what are the options open to him? I will expect that for him, the best strategy will be to keep his powders dry right now, because everybody wants to know what his move is. Where is he going to go? How is he going to go? Because they must checkmate him. And the good thing that he has is he has some resources himself, and he has some people who are dedicated. They have sold themselves to the vision, that they are ready to do anything that will advance the cause or the vision that will be, his purview. So for me, what I see is that I don't think Obi is going to stay in Labour Party. I think Obi is going to make a move, and I think that Obi is looking at and carefully, analyzing, listening to advice, and trying to see what best strategies he can apply, to make sure. This is just one attempt. What is his name? Buhari. How many attempts did he make? The president has been nursing this ambition for years, spending money, building structures, and so on and so forth. Obi took the nation by storm. So I'm sure now the rebuilding of the Obedient Party is to make sure that he has a solid block that he can take wherever he's going. And they would listen to him, because if he comes with that kind of followership that he has, any party, he's an asset to anywhere he moves. So for now, it's not about selling, it's not about ideology. You don't have time for that. And there is no party that is ideological based in Nigeria. For now, the thing is to grab power, and then you can build on subsequently on every other thing that follows. And to do that, first of all, you must have a team that is dedicated. That you can imagine what would have been happened to a lot of obedience, those who are close to Obi, offering them money, some bastard money that they would not refuse. So you can understand what would be the undercurrent, political undercurrent that is going on, But there are people who have caught into the vision, and you just can't buy them with money. So to summarize, what I'm saying is that you have to be able to properly analyze Obi's vision and what he's doing, which some people see as being lazy or being. Listen, Obi has done it the first time, and he has learned his lesson. Okay, he didn't have time. Okay, but he did well for me. But you will see that after the election, what he had continued to do, he didn't stop, is to personally spend his own resources building up support, clearing out all the ill-conceived notions about him and so on and so. So there are a lot of people are beginning to see him the way he really is. To summarize, what I'm saying is that the only thing that can defeat Obi, in the coming election is that they muzzle him out with resources. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. It's not popularity, right. He's popular.
Thank you so much.
So if you can match them, money for money.
Thank you. Let's move on. Let's move on. Jide, you are in, and I know you may have something to say. And we are actually going to change gear, but let's hear from you. Except, of course, Dr. Dominic has something to say. If not, we'll change gear a bit and just touch on those issues and do more on it next week. But yes, Mr. Jide, go ahead, sir. Welcome. We appreciate your coming in, and we've not seen you for a while. I hope you didn't travel out of the state.
Oh, I'm still around. I just moved around a little bit.
All right, go ahead, sir.
I traveled around the state for some. I took some breaks. Okay, good to see. Thank you so much, KG. Good to hear from everyone again. I didn't hear much from the other guy, the guy that was interviewed. I had some tip bits, and I was able to pick some information from the conversation between Prince and Dr. Damages, and I listened and stuff. So what I want to say is that I have a lot to say, but I don't, I'm going to start with this. The idea that this political elite that are part of the establishment will fix Nigeria is a myth. It's not true. It's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to happen. We can name names. Peter Obi, Prince. We can name all these guys. Nothing is going to change. And this is the reason why. You see, the problem is for us to operate in this system, this Nigerian political paradigm, even though it's messed up, it's scattered and everything, it's not properly structured, and it is very weak. It is dominated by the same political class. The people have to be informed. for them to go for people to even go and vote, or for people to vote for policies or vote for individuals, the people have to be politically informed, historically, ideologically, economically, culturally, and all those things. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, the Nigerian people, which we call the masses, they do not have that knowledge. They do not have that capacity. That's why a lot of times they tend, maybe I don't know if it's a cultural thing. Maybe someone can help me with that. But there is this idea historically, after we got our so-called independence in 1960, where the Nigerian people tend to lean towards the oppressive class, the wealthy class. Historically, we had people like MKO Abiola. MKO Abiola played a role in some of the mess we have today in Nigeria. But for some reason, Nigerian people like MKO Abiola so much. They were obsessed with MKO Abiola, and with the controversy with June 12 and everything. Buhari is another example, right? Everyone was so sure, change. Buhari will come to power, everything will change. Nigeria was going to go for the better. We see where Nigeria is today. Likewise, to the same political actors that we're talking about that will solve the problem, they are not going to solve the problem. Because number one, Nigeria is a third world country. We need to understand we're not like America, where Donald Trump can come and make policies like that can shake the system a little bit or something. We're a third world country. And the solution to our problem is socialism. It's socialism. It's not capitalism. It's socialism. Venezuela, a lot of countries that are doing okay, maybe they're not up to the level of the countries we jackpot to, but they are doing okay for their people. And despite that, the so-called colonialists that colonize us, they are destroying them. The people are informed and they vote for the leader that represents the socialist ideals. I do not see that in Peter Obi. I do not see that in Prince. Maybe the person that seems to move maybe half close to it is Showore. Maybe half close. I've listened to Peter Obi. Clearly, I've listened to his campaign policy, his plans. You see, these are not socialist ideals. These are not socialist ideals. They're not going to improve the lives of the people. So another thing we need to understand is there's a clear difference between microeconomic indicators and macroeconomic indicators. Peter Obi can come in and there'll be foreign investments. There could be foreign investments. Nigeria GDP could improve. But that does not necessarily mean that the people's lives will be, quality of life would improve. Unless
Okay.
Focus
Can
on.
I ask something? I don't. I'm a bit confused. Are you trying to sell Nigeria a socialist kind of government? Because if I look quickly around the world, I can't see any socialist government that have actually stood out. If you look again, the people rescuing the world or trying to at least play, whether we like it or not, some form of, benevolence, handing out is still America. America is not a socialist country. If you are telling me that Nigeria needs some form of social network, it's a different thing. But going out to say we should become a socialist country, a government, are you sure that will work in Nigeria?
Yeah, China is the best example right now, right? China is the market.
No, China today is not a socialist country. No.
It's a market socialist country.
Hold on.
Unless we don't understand what socialism is. Socialism is not just all about everything being free, which is a major characteristic of socialism. Socialism is an economy that is controlled by the state and the people, not by oligarchs, not by wealthy criminals, not by private individuals, not by oligarchs, not by plutocrats. China is a market socialist country. And look at China. Yes, they have a market economy. I'm not saying we should not have a market economy. That's not what I'm saying. Nordic countries like Finland, like Sweden, they have a Nordic model. They have a market economy, but their economy is controlled by socialist policies.
Okay, now I want to ask another question, sir. This simple democracy, which means that you chop, I chop, we're not able to implement it. Is it the socialist one that we will now be able to implement in Nigeria?
Yes, thank you. So this is my answer to that question.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That the system itself is at war with the people. The system has to change. We all agree on that. But the process is the people have to organize to vote out these criminals, but they're not properly informed to vote out the criminals to put the people that will represent their socialist ideals. That's what I'm saying, because all these people that we're talking about, they don't represent the socialist ideals. It's not just by voting the president. I want to arrive at my to the final to complete the to respond to that question.
Okay, go ahead.
We can have Peter Obi winning that election, yeah, and let's even assume, even though I've listened to him, and for me it's empty. I've listened to him, but let's say he wins that election, and all the promises he plans to create is going to be implemented. He's still going to be at war in the Senate. Let's even assume he's a socialist. It's going to be a lot of people in the Senate. And that will be a war that might take the next 4 years. Because that 4 years is a very short period of time. And it's going to be a war with certain people within even this caucus and within the Senate. That's why I agree with you that the system has to change. But the people themselves are not informed politically. And the reason is because the people themselves, both abroad and in Nigeria, they're not politically educated. Because they're always thinking about survival. Okay, I'll stop there.
So,
all right.
Can I say something real quick?
I'm coming to you. All right. Thank you so much, John. And we welcome Mr. Odi. And yes, Mr. Odi, you may have something to tell us. You may also now, don't let Jide drive us out of what we are dealing with.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna let you know. But I still have to make a comment about it.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Well, it's nice to see everybody. I tried to resist not coming online, but I just couldn't. Trust me. That man that calls himself Adebayo or whatever, man. Adebayo. Yeah, and the problem is that they are ubiquitous in Nigeria, right? Sorry. There's so many of them, political jobbers, they find relevance in this kind of things. These are parasites, I'm sorry to say that. I'll tell you, if you look at their role or the role he played in the last election, I was just checking results of the last election. How many votes did he get? Can anybody tell me again?
70,000. 70,000 votes.
Okay.
About 78,000 votes.
Yeah, and he's here talking about we are going to rescue our people. We are going to do this one. Let him go and contest for governorship in his state first of all and win. Because all these things about, look, their role. We know SDP is Tinubu's party. The man is a Tinubu's man. All they are doing, even El-Rufai, this is SDP gig. Me, I don't even trust it. All they're trying to do, everybody knew before the election that if Tinubu had lost out of the APC primaries, which was a real thing, the APC SDP was going to give him a ticket. Everybody knows that Tinubu has, solid interest in SDP, and they are trying to sell us SDP now. People like El-Rufai, all these people will sell their birthright for a bowl of porridge. We know that. And the man, when he came on the last time, I asked him one simple question: Oga, do you believe that Tinubu won the election? Clear cut. He said, I don't know. Well, I said that's what they announced for us. I said, no, in your own mind, do you think he rigged the election? He said, everybody rigged. So the idea, see, this is what is going, this role in 2027 is to lump everybody together. Showore, with all due respect, I know everybody has been speaking very well here. Showore plays the same role. Obi is a thief, Tinubu is a thief, Atiku is a thief. The idea of all these guys, look, we have to open our eyes. This is our country. All these guys, what they do is, these people are all the same. They try to paint them with same brush. How can you tell us that this black and white we are seeing is not black and white? And this is what Showore every day. Showore attacks Obi more than he attacks Tinubu. And later people will come and say, oh, we should look how many votes did Sowore get the last election? And somebody is here saying that I've looked at all of them. Sowore is the, it's like Jill Stein in America. He said, oh, Jill Stein is the best candidate for, next candidate. He's never going to win. She's never going to win election. She's a disruptor. Sowore doesn't even come close to that kind of, disruption. Yeah, he's an activist. He can lead people to offices and scream at police people. And he has his own role. I respect the man. But when we are talking about the presidential election, don't let these people confuse us, even if they try. People like, I have respect for what's my brother Jide. But, everybody could see through what he's trying to do now, right? He's trying to give us Venezuela as a successful country. When Trump is trying to send them back to their country. And they are hold on, now let me finish now.
China.
Well, Venezuela is the one that is close to me here. Cuba is the one. The people that they are chasing back. Let me finish now. The people they are chasing back.
Time to speak. Go ahead.
In the American hemisphere, they are chasing back to their country, like me and you. They are the epitome of socialism that we know for now. Cuba, Venezuela. And you're telling us, oh, I've looked at Obi's manifesto. Who's doing manifesto in Nigeria? What Nigeria needs is honesty and integrity. If you get, just like Obi has been, that if the man on top is not stealing, you cut corrupt. Nigerian problem is not ideology, it's not socialism. If you bring socialism, they will sell off the whole thing in Nigeria. It's corruption. That's our problem. If the man on top is not corrupt, you cut it down, and then we start building a country.
Thank you.
Without that,
I want, and this question goes to everybody. Hold on, Mr. Moyere.
No, sorry. Let me just land on this point. Then as we go through this and we come to this, forefather does this thing also, and there's going to be a bunch of people like Jide. They will be all over. They will come and tell you, oh, I've looked through Obi. He's one of them. He's not. Everybody shine your eyes. We have a country to build. Look out for these people. They are wolf in sheep clothing. They are there to confuse and people will say, oh, they are all the same. Now let's not go and vote. We have a nation to build.
Can I interject him?
No, don't interject him. Let him finish. Because if you interject him, all right, thank you so much. I see Dr. Dominic, I see your hand, but hold on. I want to ask all of us a question, and then you answer as you take your turn. Do you think that the system actually wants Obi to win? And I'm saying this with just sitting here now. I know that everybody who is anybody in the political arena in Nigeria approved Obi's candidacy. He went to Babangida. Babangida said, oh, you are the man. Obasanjo took him by the hands, took him round their, the 5 power base in Nigeria, and they all accepted him. And yet, Obi was not able to be declared winner of the election. Question I have to ask you guys, and I'll start with Dr. Dominic, which will lead us eventually to the next point we're going to discuss. Do you think that Nigeria actually like honest people?
But Nigerians have been, I'm going to use Nigerian terms. Nigerians have been bastardized so much and traumatized so much that they can't tell the difference between who is good and who is bad. And, part of the issue when it comes to convincing on who to vote for, part of the issue we have is when commentators or politicians start to introduce cultural context to things. For example, rather than people being honest about which of these politicians or elites are doing real work, which ones need to be called out, people will insert respect. Oh, don't insult this person, don't insult that person, show this person respect. But have you asked yourself, this person that is, destroying this state, this person that is, very corrupt, this person that is, mutilating the judiciary or the legislator or the executive, have you asked them if they care or have respect for Nigerian people? They always insert this cultural thing to it to make people mellow, to make people simmer down, and kind of essentially eat the nonsense that we're being fed. I think once you start to take off some of that cultural wool, some of that cultural things that are used to suppress people, that is where the real activism comes in. That is where people will be able to be comfortable saying, okay, I'm going to vote for Obi, I'm going to vote for Shawari, I'm going to vote for somebody else, despite what my king or Eze, despite what my Obi or Oba, despite what my Sultan or Emir says. When you remove that cultural or political subservience, when you remove all of that mindset and allow people to be free and open-minded, when people don't vote based on what their pastor says or what their imam says, when people have total, complete cultural and social freedom to vote their conscience, that is where you can have Nigerian support an honest man. But so long as you have those little sentiments of, when people talk about how corrupt the government is, someone will say, "Oh, don't insult your elder," but the elders don't respect the kids. So when there's no respect, you just have to, put things the way they are. So I disagree with my brother Odi when he talks about Shawara in certain ways, and when other people talk about Shawara being abrasive. I have no issues with someone being abrasive. For Nigerians, you have to call a spade a spade. That's why Nigerian politics is a little different from what I'm used to here in the US, because here in the US there's nobody cuts corners. If they think you're corrupt, they'll tell it to your face. They'll be abrasive about it. They'll call things the way they are. But Nigeria, people will be just meandering. By the time you meander and try to still assert that respect, it loses the muster. It loses the seriousness of your criticism. That's why someone is doing when he criticizes, he says that it is. When other politicians, whether it be or others, criticize, they do it in such a mellow manner that I don't think it is impactful. Remember, you're talking to a traumatized people, people that you need to, push very hard, people who are numb to abnormalities and negativities. You have to hit them very powerfully. You can't just be very mellow in how you do things. Nigeria, I think, is ready for an honest person, but the issue is when it comes to the polling booth and when it comes to the polity. When you insert that cultural things that I've talked about, people become very mellow in terms of how they handle things. I'm gonna put a question to everyone. I find it interesting that Peter Obi is in his 50s, maybe approaching 60s, so we're a similar age. But when people talk about these two political figures, there's a likeness to Obi, and there's maybe more mainstream aversion to how Shawore plays politics. But I put it to you guys, this is what I think is happening. I'm going to digress a little bit, KG. Obi, let me just remove Obi, because I think part of the issue is when you mention Obi, some people close their minds. Some people become, that open-mindedness kind of goes away. Let's use a different person. Let's use a different scenario. A politician similar to Obi, who is very is very, at least outwardly honest. I can't see what is in his mind, but in terms of how he's portraying himself with someone who is honest, wants to straddle between what the people want and also straddle with the old political elite. And in some sense, he's trying to make himself look like a candidate of the people, but also a candidate that these old owners of Nigeria would also support. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't eat it, you can have it. You in Nigeria, if you want to stand for revolution, you have to be very straightforward. And if you want people to support you and support you strongly, and you want to kick down the door, you have to pick one side. I think what a similar politician like Obi is doing is trying to straddle both. You cannot destroy the old system or the current system by straddling both. You can't be going to Babangida and trying to gain those people's support and also trying to, side with the masses. At some point, the real revolution is not going to be happening with people like Obi. I respect him. I saw what he's trying to do. Maybe in a different mindset, in a different day and age, he may win. But these people who have this power and are getting from corruption will never hand it to him like it's a piece of cake. No. You need someone else who's abrasive, someone similar to Showore who has that same senior politics to be able to bust down the door. It may not be Showore, it may take 20, 30, 40 years for Nigeria to be able to change. But to have that kind of change that you want, which is going to clean things up, you need someone who thinks outside the box and someone who is not trying to make the political establishment comfortable with him or give him power.
All right, thank you so much for that. I see Mr. Omonyere, my comrade. Comrade, because you're always going off and on. Sorry, guys, I wanted to come to you, Tony, but comrade don't have a steady network. He has appeared more than 10 times off and on. So let's just have him. So if he's talking and he goes off, you know that we're being fed to him. All right, you can make your comments or your contributions.
Yeah, I apologize for my service. I'm on the road. I just pull over to be able to, make this a very vital discussion. I want to know, as I interject Mr. Odi, he spoke very well. But then, I think one way or the other, we are enablers of the system. We make we make it easy for the oppressors to lord it over us because of our division. We are blinded one way or the other. We are gullible, we are susceptible, and one way or the other without knowing it. And either we are, we have our biases as human beings, which is okay. But the extent to which we manage it, makes a whole lot of difference. Sometimes we see most of the obedience see Showore as the enemy. Showore is not the enemy. Just the way Obi is not the enemy to those that believe in Showore. When you put questions such as how will you manage the ruinous of Nigeria to Obi, he will tell you, go put your eyes in your front so that you can move on. So just leave all these atrocities they have committed against us and move on like that. Most of us that suffer under the brutality of IBB and Abacha, we don't subscribe to those kind of easy way of just moving on. Just move on. Somebody has stolen your car. Now because he has taken good care of the car or he has driven the car roughly, you have the opportunity to recover your car. You say, no, let him go. He succeeded in taking it. Let's move on so we can buy another car. We are not comfortable with that. Obi Showore does not come to Obi just because you want to attack Obi. But when such questions come as what happens to these people? Why are you going back to seek? Why are you going back to the altar of those that ruin Nigeria to seek their blessings? All of us here know. Let us not pretend about it. If you go to Obasanjo, for example, to seek help, he cannot give you help without conditions. And those conditions cannot be far from selfish interest and personal aggrandizement. If there's anybody that me here should challenge me. If you go to Babangida, for example, to seek help because you want to win election, he will not give you help because he will condition you to protect his oil well. If you go to Danjuma, for example, to seek help, all in the name of winning election, he cannot give you assistance because he will condition you. And when you come aboard, you want to move an inch beyond those conditions, they will cripple you. Let's not pretend about this whole thing. Showore is the only person that will tell you the way it is. Whether you vote for him or not, he doesn't care. That's the kind of person we need. Let's not pretend about it. If somebody tells you, Obi is not different from other people, you get angry because you have Showore phobia. We cannot continue like that. We are blinded by our religion, by our tribe, and by our sentiment. It's not taking us anywhere. He makes it press us to lord it over us. Thank you.
Thank you. And reading through your comment while you are making your comment, I can read out to you some of the comments, which means that we are truly not gone beyond our tribal. Somebody is even saying Obi called for a jihad. I don't know when Obi called for a jihad. That lie that was sold by TVC is still going on. And that is not true. My brother, I researched that very well when Obi was governor. He never called for jihad. He never said Islam or Muslim should not exist. He never tried to send them away. If you had that intention or that news, please give us the videos where he was sending them away. But I can tell you, because I was still in Nigeria at that time, there's nothing like that news. It was fabricated. However, let's move on. No, Jide, hold on. The other guys who are
I wanted
here,
to
you just
respond.
spoke so
I
long.
have a lot to say. Like I need
No,
to.
no,
I
I
need
know
to.
you have a lot. So
I have
also
a.
stay humble, who have been humble all this while. So also Tony, my brother, who has also just listened to everybody so far, and he has not made any comments. So let's go to Tony. Tony, you have heard what the comrade said before he left. His network is not very stable. Thank God you heard what he wanted to say. So you can now respond holistically to everything that Odi has said, to Dr. Dominic have said, and yes, and then we can move on from there.
Well, I will add Odi to the list of those that I say I am in sync with what they have said. Odi, stay humble, Ike. And I agree, too, essentially with Dr. Dominic, because there are issues that are actually militating against our view of the kind of nation that we want to build. And we are still blinded by ethnic sentiments, religious provincialism, and every other vice that no advanced nation, no country today in the world that has gone far, used to achieve, to get to where they are today. So the point really is, it, what we need, the first thing for me, what we need is to dismantle this structure that we have of oppression. And the way you can do it is not just by, it's not that I don't hate Showore, but I don't approve of his tactics, because first of all, you see, to fight these people, let me just use Lagos under Fashola and Ambode, for example, and then vis-a-vis Wike and Fubara. You could see I was in Lagos then, and I was close to, I was working within the environment where these people work. So I know a couple of things. I don't want to say I know a couple of things. When Fashola came to his second term, I know how he came to his first term, and I know some of the issues that he had. But he was Armstrong. He couldn't really do much, because you can't buy the finger that fed you. But when he came to his second term, when he knew that, maybe the worst thing that would happen would be impeachment, but at least he would not have to seek for a second term. Now, there were certain things that he now decided to deal with, because his first term was successful and the second term was also successful. Now, he was more placed, having studied, learned a few things about politics. He was not a politician. Now, and so he tried to deal with those things. And so he got into trouble. The elders had to come in to intervene, to say, no, listen, you mellow down. You can't do this. And then came Ambode. And we saw the things that happened that took Ambode out, and even though the guy wanted to fight back, there are people who told him, no, don't. And what this is showing us is the power, those who are holding that apparatus of power. For you to be able to push them, to deal with them, you must also have not just popularity, but you must also have the political clout and the resources to be able to fight them. Because for them is a do or die. Now, let's go to River State. The same thing played out. In fact, you can compare Ambode Oga relationship to the kind that you have with Wike and Fubara. There are so many ways you can compare. Both of them accountant general, sound people. Academic. I know of Ambode, sound first class accountant. A technocrat, not a bureaucrat, and he came to work. And I can speak very well of Ambode because I was close. Now, the issues are issues that nobody has come out. The man has been disciplined enough not to come out to say this stuff, but there were issues, clear issues, because this is a man who came to work. And so he had to tackle those things that will obstruct his actually delivering services to the people, the way he understood it and the way he planned it. But there were still serious obstacles, and they had to get him down. Because if you do that, someone is going to lose. So what I'm saying that if you transpose that to the nation, which is a much bigger, political scenario, you find out that if you want to pull these people down who have a mass power over the years, they have enormous resources. They have the press. They have built institutions and structures all over who are also interested to, in the continuity of that system. If you want to fight them, it's not just being an activist. That's my point. It's not activism. Activism is good, but you will not succeed by just being an activist. You can't.
Okay. All right.
You can't.
You will not succeed by being an activist. So what is the success method we're supposed to use here now?
What I'm saying is that, first of all, you need to build, because those people have already built structures, people who will die with them. They will sink with them. So you have to be able to build. You have to be able to build people who are committed to your cause. Because if you're doing it alone, you have to build people who can plug in, who understand your vision and are ready, and they've sold themselves to it. So that, because they will come to them, they will offer them money, they will do all kinds of things to get them out. And they've been doing it. I mean, look at what happened in Anambra.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
Tony. I'm not trying to land on your points.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that, you see, these are things we are not understanding. If we are looking at the good of Nigeria, all these ethnic privileges and all these primordial sentiments and so on, we must do away with it. Just like Dr. Dominic said, if we don't do that, we just be, circumnavigating all through and so on and so forth. When I went to university, my meal, 50 kobo, and it was a good meal. This same country. This same country. I wasn't paying 90 naira for a year.
Yeah.
This same country.
We enjoy that. It was called a reference. You have a meal ticket.
The same country. As a poor person, you could sponsor yourself in the university.
Yeah.
But you can't do that now.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
KJ.
Yes, sir.
If you allow me. I'm not, sir. If you allow me. I want people to understand this. When we speak about having a different mindset in terms of changing Nigeria, it doesn't mean that we are naive. We understand what's going on. We understand that if you want to take power quickly and want an expedient way of doing it in this, while having this currency having something similar to this current system, you have to be in bed with some of those people who are already in the system. You kind of have to pick the lesser of two evils. What I'm saying is, those who have a purist mindset and want a total change of what is happening in Nigeria, they are the ones that think the way I think. You may call it, an El Dorado or an unrealistic mindset. But when it comes to revolution, there has to be people that think like myself or people that think that sure. Because you can't have everyone thinking about being in bed with the old system. You have to have outliers. And eventually, in a perfect working Nigeria, you want everybody to come to where the outliers are. That is the whole point I'm trying to make. You may call us stupid and call us foolish and say what we are saying is not feasible. But some of our ideas and things that we're pushing may not be things that will change Nigeria in the next 5 or 6 years. But you still need those voices who will eventually, hopefully, change Nigeria in the next 10 to 20 years, if Nigeria survives. But at the end of the day, you still need people like Shaw, no matter how much you hate him, you still need someone who is abrasive and will always tell truth to power, rather than someone who's somewhere in the middle.
Thank you. I totally agree with that. And I even know that Babangida, when he was in government, said that any society that does not have radicals is a lost society. Because you can't do anything. You need America's, do you know why America, one of the reasons why you can't, whatever you say, you can't throw America behind this. America said we are the land of the free. We are the, what is it now? The
land of the free, home of the brave.
Home of the brave. Land of the free, home of the brave. They will take the cost that you think nobody will take. They will stand in. Okay? So, until you develop a people who can now say, whatever be the case, let it be the case. And that will take us to our next discussion. We will not go anywhere. Nobody changes a nation, a situation, a circumstance by gentlemanness. It doesn't happen. I said here before this man was taken away. being gentleman.
I need to talk about corruption.
Okay, no, hold on, Jide. You spoke a long time.
No, it's only once. I want to talk about corruption. Someone mentioned corruption.
Hold on. I gave you a long time. You spoke. We asked a question. You spoke. Let us hear from.
Once I spoke.
Very humble. Have been very humble. Let's hear from him. And then we'll come to you. Yes, thank you, Jide, for your understanding. All right, stay humble. You may want to make a contribution now.
Okay, thank you very much. I've heard all that's been said regarding everything, P2B. I'll just start with what's you said about P2B Hub not being with people like Babangida and the rest of them. Look, we don't want to discount the fact that we have a very long history in Nigeria. We have a very checkered history, both colonial. And then when you are taking into account the history of Nigeria, you have to also factor in that the British, when they came to Nigeria and also when they left Nigeria, or when they were about to leave, they were very intentional about who they wanted to rule Nigeria. And the choice of who they wanted to rule Nigeria was predicated on the different systems of leadership of the different tribes in Nigeria. The British intentionally probably didn't want the Igbos to be in charge of Nigeria just because of the republican nature of Igbo government system. There are tribes in Nigeria that have mainly monarchical system, which the British liked because, once they capture the kings or whoever the leaders were, it was easy for the people to just follow suit. And for the Igbos, it's not like that. You have to convince the entirety of the people. So for you to be an Igbo man, and then when you now take into account the history of Nigeria, the civil war and everything, and then you want to be the president of Nigeria, Peter Obi has the people definitely on his side, but he's not going to ignore that long history. You understand? He has to bring everybody together. You understand? If Peter Obi says, "Oh, I'm going to ignore, these people. I'm going to face the people. The people want me." Those people will continue to work against him. That's number one. Then also number two, you don't want to ignore the geopolitics of the world. There is external influence, whether you like it or not. There's external influence in Nigeria's politics. Without external influence, Tinubu will not be Nigeria's president. Without external influence, they will not rid Nigeria's election and call the bluff of more than 200 million people of Nigeria. You understand? Someone has been installing past presidents of Nigeria, and they've called the bluff of Nigerians. All right. So, and those people don't want a P2B to be president. You have to factor that in. And for P2B to be president, he must work many times as hard as other people. If Showore, for example, had half the influence, the followership of P2B, he will be president today. You understand? Right. But because of P2B's tribe, and because of P2B's tribe, he has to work 3 times, 5 times as hard as others. So you have to factor that in. That's number one. Also, regarding China, you say that China is a socialist. China is, when you mentioned that, I was totally scandalized. China is pure capitalist market, pure capitalist. In fact, China is far more capitalist than the United Kingdom. Far more capitalist than Sweden, far more capitalist. You understand? There are capitalist countries that have some social welfare schemes, like the United Kingdom, you have the National Health Scheme, in Germany, you have some social welfare scheme. But China is pure capitalist market. Don't even mislead us.
All right, let's move on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate your contribution. Jide, I have new people and I want to hear from them before we move, but I'm prepared to give you just 2 minutes, if that will be enough for you. Okay. Just 2 minutes.
Thank you so much. I have a lot to say. There are a lot of myths.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yeah, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions on this platform. First of all,
2
I need to
minutes.
say that. First of all, I need to say that because China is not communist like the Soviet Union, does not make it, and because they have a private industries, private enterprise, makes it a capitalist country. China is not a capitalist country. Their political system is very communist. Their economic system is market socialism. I can provide thoughts on this platform. Everyone should read multiple. I've read about China so much.
Let's move.
That's number one. I've not said up to 2 minutes. But why are you timing me? I've not even said anything.
I'm sorry.
So I was talking about corruption. Why?
I'm sorry.
You're talking about corruption. I'm talking about why Peter. I think someone mentioned why Peter Obi would be the man that when it comes into power, and what Nigeria needs is there should not be any corruption. So that's another misconception. So what brings about the kind of corruption that we have so much in Nigeria today is as a result of Western imperialism. You see, a lot of these are political elites. They have offshore accounts, and there is a link between Western imperialism and offshore accounts. Unfortunately, I cannot go into details since KJ is giving me 2 minutes. But that is a fact. That's why there's so much corruption in Nigeria. So the solution to Nigeria is to have its national sovereignty, like Venezuela, Cuba, China. If we're not like those countries, we can just stop for 100 hours. Nothing is going to change. Number 3, I have to talk about this. The reason why Cuba and Venezuela is not like the United States in terms of economic buoyancy and success is because of currently those countries are currently at war with the United States. The United States imposed economic blockade and sanctions and sabotage. In fact, part of Cuba is still being annexed by the US. It's called the Guantanamo Bay. So that's what happens when you're a third world country. You are trying to liberate yourself. They will be at war with you. Iran have been able to carry out. They've been successful to some extent. Russia to some extent. China too. So you can look at what China is doing. So I don't have a lot of time. I'll stop there.
All right.
I have to respond. So give me the 2 minutes.
Please,
that would be fair. No, you have to give me the 2 minutes. No. That would be unfair. 2 minutes. No, you gave him 2 minutes. Just be fair now. Give me 2 minutes, my own 2 minutes. And balance it out.
I have 2 minutes.
No, so look, I'll address Dr. Dominic first. There are many people who have Sowore sensitivity. And, like when you talk about Obi and people, people feel that when you talk about Obi, people should just abandon the guy. And when the guy, we know this guy is not a saint, but it's anything in a political class, anything close to that. And when you stick up for this guy, people say, no, whenever you talk about Obi, people become sensitive. But when you talk about Sowore, they don't see, you have to look at the man in the mirror. And many of you guys, whenever you talk about Sowore, they become very sensitive. Look, be objective. We're talking about objectivity. Sowore has run 2 elections for president. The first one, he got 33,000. The second one, he got 14,000. He wouldn't even win election in my local government with that. And people are trying to arrogate what he does not have to him. He's a good activist. I agree with that. And I agree with that we need people like that in our polity. He has to play his own role. But his own role cannot be the role of Simon Ekpa. During election, you say, oh no, Peter Obi is one of us too. He's corrupt. He stole money in, that's the role that this guy is playing. Don't try to blindfold us. And when you talk about revolution, look, we know some revolutions. Yes, we know about the Soviet Revolution, Chinese Revolution. We know about revolution in America. Do you know what happens in revolution? People die. You don't go and say revolution today on Twitter, and then people will run away from. No. If Sowore wants to really be a revolutionary, Che Guevara, he should take his AK-47 and head to Abuja and start something. Revolution. And he's cleaning out with his Sahara reporters. And all these other people, these foreign powers are still giving him support. They're donating to his campaign, donating to his newspaper. And people are telling me, come on, don't blindfold me here. He's carrying little girls. So how does he survive? He's in Nigeria every day. What does he do for a living? But he's looking very good. Let him bring his bank account and show us. You know, please don't, and stay humble, please. I'll beg you, my brother. Don't even waste your time trying to preach to people about why also Obi should behave how he behaves. Look, don't waste your time about this thing. You know, because it's, you know, like people should see with their eyes. You know, why do you need to explain to someone why Obi has to visit Babangida or visit this person? He said, oh, just go and take power. How do you just go and take power? But when Obi doesn't consult, he say he doesn't consult with any people. These people don't consult. Some people are on the comment section, you know, playing with their ethnic, you know, playing ethnic gymnastics. Oh, because you know that I'm an Igbo man and I talk about an Igbo man, it's a problem in Nigeria. But if you're Yoruba or you talk about Showore, it's not a problem. Oh. And me, like personally, I believe that we should get a dictator in Nigeria. And I
Okay.
believe that all these points, we are coming close to that. If that dictator is from Nasarawa State, he can rule forever and hand over it to his son. Once he's able to love his country and be, you know, a patriot, I have no problem with that. I'd rather live in UAE and not insult my leader than live in Nigeria where there is freedom and filled with all these guys who are, everybody is playing with language. Oh no, this one, that one. And we are not, you can't blindfold us anymore, you guys, man.
Thank you. I appreciate your contribution. And I want to say this before I go to Iwese, Dr. Iwese, before you go off again. Sorry,
do I get the right of reporter?
I see you, Pascal. I see you. Please, Dr. Iwese have been coming off and on. Let's go to him first. Then we'll come to my brother Pansa. Then we'll come to Dr. Dominic. Then we'll come to Ike. If you don't mind, so that it doesn't go off again. Thank you for your contribution. And I want to say this.
If you're doing it by age, I should be next.
Sorry?
You have to, if you're doing it by age, I should be next because we have Africans here.
It's not by age.
We don't do that. We don't do that here, right, KJ?
It's not by age, sir. All right, go ahead, Dr.
Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I've been watching. I was in one of the coffee shops watching you guys. Then I had to rush home to come and log in. And it's very, very interesting discussion. There's no doubt. Anytime we come here, people just do, you know, and everybody, even those who disagree and would agree, everybody's making powerful contribution. And I like that. I like you know, free fall, you know, hands-free debate because it's healthy. That's where we find out the good things and the bad things and everything. My only concern is that we are not looking towards history or what has worked for other people in the past. We're only kind of discussing in abstract. And that's the failure of imagination on our own part. Because people are always talking about P2B in abstract as you are not connected to the man. You are part of the system. So it's not, look at what P2B is doing. What are we doing ourselves? Or what do we do? Do we follow P2B or do we reject P2B? Don't say, Shore is doing this. No, the thing is, it's all about all of us. It's not about P2B. He's not doing it for himself because he has come out to show us that he is a man who has looked at Nigerian situation and found out that for you to do anything successfully, you need a strategy. When civil rights movement was happening in the United States, Malcolm X was of the opinion that black people should pick up gun and shoot white people. If they shoot them, they should shoot back. Martin Luther King looked at the situation and said, no. They are in the power, in the presidency. They have the military. Their people don't like us at the same time. Of course, they said that everybody has the right to bear arms. If we bear arms, and then it will be an opportunity for them to massacre all of us. So let us go the other way around and go and appeal to their conscience. That's why they go. Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement, decided to go through the nonviolent movement, and that's how civil rights was won. P2B has looked at the situation I heard what Dr. Dominic was saying, and the point is well taken. But if you look at Nigeria, you have to carve out, maybe what you're saying is right, maybe it's wrong, I don't know. We have to think, seriously, what is the strategy to go to snatch out this control? Just like he was saying, they're not going to give P2B. Nobody gives anybody power. You snatch it out one way or the other. You take it. You can take it, strategically in a subtle way, or you can take it by force with, aggressively. But what is the chance or chances that you will succeed if you come the way Sowore is coming? Because they can all look at Sowore and say that Sowore is an agitator and is evil. He wants to destroy the whole country. P2B looked at it. I know what P2B is trying to do is actually a revolution in its own way. Don't forget, he's preaching. He said that we have to move from consumption to production. When you move people from consumption to production, you are shifting their mindset. Now you are not laying the whole responsibility on the government. The government should do this for us. Government should do this. No, he said we need to move from consumption. Who are the consumers? We. Who are going to be the producers? We. Not the government doing something for us. Because the government is Ronald Reagan. All of you know about Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan said that the government is the problem and not the solution. In his slogan, Americans do not believe in the government. They believe that government should be this. So when Ike and Tony and some other guy, they were talking about, let's look at P2B. All of us, not just P2B on his own self. There are things P2B is not doing, may not be doing right, which is understandable. And I agree with you. There are things he's not doing right. But maybe that's our strategy to get in there. We're not going to tell them. Somebody was just saying that P2B said that if they still, we're going to move forward, we're going to forgive them. Do you want P2B to announce that he's going to go after them before he started and then be able to get there? Knowing Nigeria, some of the things you're going to do is going to be by trick. You're going to trick them on getting there and then snatching in the power. When you get in there, then you start creating. We bring Dr. Dominic. What do we do with people who still? Dr. Dominic will just say we're bringing them into trial. We say, okay, this is the people have spoken. But you don't just, because if you commit crime, you commit crime. A crime is a crime, and the person who committed crime knows it's a crime. Because the president said, okay, we're going to move forward. Maybe that's a way for us to get in where we're going. But the thing is, all of us have to look at it and know that it's not P2B's case, it's all of us. We're the one that failed Nigeria. It's not P2B alone. And for us to get Nigeria, all of us have to be involved, just like somebody else, I think Stay Humble said it. People have to be involved. And the only person that made people involved is through persuasion. Listen, the last election in the United States was not about policy. One person was running on policy. The other person was running to be the Messiah, to be the Führer of America, to be the supreme leader. I am your retribution. That was the slogan Donald Trump was using all the time. I am your revenge. He was never running on any. There was no policy that Donald Trump put in place that will unite the Arabs in Michigan and the black Americans and the Latinos together. Zero. The guy was a cult leader and he knew it. That's why when you call him out on lies, he doubled down on it and nothing happens. If Donald Trump called today for people to drink Kool-Aid and die, about 5% of the, based on somebody's research, not mine, about 5% of people following him will drink the Kool-Aid. And that's what cult leaders do. Who predicted this thing 2,500 years ago? Plato. That's why Plato, with all his philosophy and everything, he was against democracy. Because Plato said that democracy is something, is a system that gives opportunity to oligarchs and crooks to mesmerize uneducated minds to follow them. The best speeches you can put for people to follow you when you have American statistics say that 54% of American population between the ages of 17 to 74 can only read at 6th grade level. 54%. And that 54%, they say, if you go to Google, look at it, it called them functional illiterate. You expecting those people to make rational decisions?
Okay.
Thinking?
Thank you, Doc. I was enjoying it, but I had to just find a way to stop you. Thank you for your contribution. It's well taken. Even though I have one or two things to say, but I don't want to take us away from this topic. I just want us to go and Dr. Pansa,
KJ,
you are.
I want to make an announcement. I sent multiple sources to prove that China is a communist country.
Okay, I'll put it on the public line so that those who want to go check it, go and check it. We're not deviating from.
I can send more as well, and I can.
Okay, please put it on the chat so that those who are, on the YouTube chat so that people can pick it up and on our chat so that people can pick it up and read more when they live here. Yes, Can we do? Yeah, did I say Ike or Pansa? Who comes first?
Pansat.
Okay, Pansat, please go ahead.
All right, thank you very, very much. And everybody at KJ, the host here, and the fellow panelists, and those who are in the comment section. If I do remember, if I have time, I will address Madam Adama in that comment section over there. But let me say that Dr. Ewesi kind of laid it down. I wish he had time to listen to Good Lord Jonathan. I believe there's something Good Lord Jonathan said in the last couple of days that's quite profound. It's actually indelible in my mind. He says, because Dr. Ewesi, I believe you're trying to wake up people like Dominic here, Dr. Dominic and others. He says that the only person that you can wake up is somebody who's pretending to sleep. That those who are truly asleep, you do one little thing and you wake them up. He attributed that to Indians. A lot of Nigerians, of course, Shoreway does the same thing. He's trying to wake up Nigerians who are pretending to sleep. He's calling for a revolution every day here. But let's tackle some things because we're discussing a lot of things simultaneously. It's a lot of confusion here. All right. In many verticals, like Jide is pounding his chest over there because he's right about China being a communist country. Some things have degrees. There are hybrids, which is what they've cleverly done and stuff. So I'm going to be all over the map because we don't have that much time. But let me say to you that Chowere and Dr. Dominic and Rudolph here, they're friends, they're alliances, they have businesses together. They used to be in Sahara Reporters or still are. And they don't disclose that because to them, it's like a known fact, right? I don't think they're being crooked about it. They just assume that everybody knows it. Everybody doesn't know that Rudolph used to work with Sahara Reporters and still publishes stuff, material from here on Shore's outfit. Now, Dr. Dominic is a doctor, but unfortunately, psychophancy doesn't have any adulation for whatever you are in practice, what you're doing in your life. So you're a sycophant, you're a sycophant. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor or head of state. If you're worshiping Showere because of whatever reason, you're gonna be talking nonsense about Showere all the time when you talk. Now, Showere himself, there's something he does that's quite remarkable because I looked at it, I could never figure him out. Accusation is accusation. Let's say the government accuses me, they say Nigeria accuse me of some kind of malfeasance, right? And they accuse him of malfeasance, or in his case, something worse. He's saying to the Nigerians, say, look, this guy, the government has accused him of something. But in his case, the government is wrong without judicial activity, right? So Showere has been accused of treason, even when he's running for office. Nigerians just discard that because we know that our government is unfair and wrong about that. Treason is the worst thing anybody could be accused of. He has to go to court and be exonerated from that accusation. I'm saying accusation. It's not accusation. He was charged. So when he's talking nonsense about Peter Obi all the time, I mean, it's so absurd. Because the main thing is that I'm trying to figure out why is he doing it. Is he tribal? Is he a tribalistic guy? And there's a lot of material to show that he is. Because when you look at how women are being subjected in our country, and you have people like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala emerge to the top, a lot of women. The NAFDAC lady, the premier founder of NAFDAC, KJ, what's her name there?
Professor Akinyele.
Akinyele. Okay, so now you go and you go do a research and look at the material, all the articles that were published by Showere on Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, for example, many years ago. It's 151 articles with one neutral, the rest of them negative. In a country like Nigeria, where almost everybody is corrupt, you have somebody like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala come to the top. Now, the world bodies hired Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala after she was destroyed by Showore in that country. So his victims, if you look at it, now he's improved a lot. If you looked at Showore's victims in the past, let's say 90s, 2000s, they're going to be primarily Southeasterners, women. It doesn't matter. Some of our people who are not saints, but you have all kinds of their contemporaries like El-Rufai and all that, that you say, why would you leave these killers and you're talking about somebody you think did something and you go this hard on them? And look, it's a heartbreaker because I like Showore, right? It's okay. Sometimes when you look at it and you go back and you see, okay, I was holding him down because he's not accusing, let's say, Tinubu of anything, or he's not accusing El-Rufai of anything. Then he will start accusing those people that you had anchored say, hey, I got you. You're a tribal guy. Then when you listen to him, he start criticizing those people. So you really don't know where he stands. Now hold on.
Yeah. Yes, because you have taken more time, but can you just go straight to addressing some of these things you have raised? Because we're not actually on, this was your side attraction that Mr. Jide brought.
I understand. You have to know
that you have to allow it flow now, so that you can be. Yeah. This is sweet, so let's enjoy it, man. It's a TV show.
Yeah, because it's very, very good that people. You see how I turned Tony around a little bit, right? Tony used to be really, really bad here, right? He turned around, he dressed dapper, he makes sense. Now, when I listen, I don't want to come here anymore. We have to, now this is not funny now. We have to do the same thing with Dr. Dominic, right? Because it's not like Dr. Dominic, when you listen to him, you know he's very smart, he's sharp, right? But he's artificially taking his position because they're making him do it. Like Rudolph and Showere, he has to be that way. Okay, so now we have to recover some of this people. Now, let me say that a lot of things that we should be talking about. For example, what's happening in Port Harcourt, right, River State, and all kinds of stuff. But it's like building castles on the sand. If we don't get to correcting people who come here with irrational stuff. What virtues? There are many virtues. First of all, that a list of it is probably in the hundreds. But when it comes to courage, justice, temperance, modesty, cleanliness, prudence, wisdom, charity, honesty, respect, all kinds of stuff. Showore cannot hold a candle to Peter Obi in any way. They're not even in the same league. If Peter Obi somehow is inserted right here now on this platform, there's something we call ebube. All of us will feel it. We're going to know that we're in the presence of somebody who God has brought out to do something for the country. There'll be a bube here. If Showore come here, first of all, now some of it is out of his own making. I'm gonna just conclude with this on his side. I like Showore, don't get me wrong now. But we have to, he's an enigma as far as I'm concerned now, because I don't know, what is he? Is he a communist? He calls this one called himself comrade. Do you know what it is to be calling some comrade? For example, Dr. Dominic might be a comrade. I haven't heard anybody call him a comrade yet. When somebody calls you a comrade, you're a communist. Now, there are many definitions for communism, but one of the hallmark of it is that you cannot own private property. That's a very important thing. Somebody needs to come and say, look, I'm a communist. When I come in there, you're not going to own a private property. Now, when Showore came here the last time, I asked him point blank, face to face. I said, are you a capitalist? He says, no, I'm not a capitalist. And then he went on to elucidate, trying to praise communism. And I regretted asking him that question because I don't want him destroyed. He's quite useful in what we want. He's incorruptible in my mind, right? But he's a communist who's hiding it. So when he makes, now why did I ask him the question? He keeps saying they're all the same. Now, I said, okay, now what do these people have in common? Peter Obi, Tinubu, Atiku, what do they have in common? They're capitalists. So in that sense, he's right. But you can't do it in a clandestine manner. So
Okay, you have...
let me, I have not made any appearance since
but you can't forever now.
I know, but I'll say this and then I appreciate the courtesy. Let me ask that I'll be allotted as much time as I may consume. Is that okay with unanimous consent here? So now, haven't had no objection. Now, KJ, here's what I'm saying to you. Listen to me.
No, there's no objection. How can you say that?
Okay, I'll cut it down, but let me end it this way. I've come here and I've made controversial statements. I say the problem we have in Nigeria are the minorities in Nigeria, right? Now, you see, Nigeria doesn't know that it's hurting a lot of people. There are a lot of minorities who are not happy with Nigeria. Like Wazobia. I'm a Wazobia kind of Nigerian, right? We have the Wazobia. If we don't have Wazobia, Ejo, or Wazobia, Edo, we have Wazobia. So you pick one of those three by fiat. You belong to one of those three if you're a true Nigerian. But a lot of these minorities are not happy. So when they surface to become president of the Senate or whatever, right? They don't care about that country. They suck it to us. Well, we're on a platform talking, you may be here trying to fix Nigeria or do this or do that. They know that one of the lights that we have for the country are the Southeasterners. So they try to suck it to us. They want to bring down the Southeasterners. They want to cut out what they call South-South. These are small. My village is usually bigger than some of these places.
Okay.
No, hold on. KJ, you don't like this, but it's the truth. If you look at the problem we have right now, it's nothing but minorities. Ababio, Wike, right? So they're there destroying all of us. We're gonna have to do something about it. I could be popular here by like Ike, my brother Ike. He doesn't want me kicking the dust. He wants me to come here and be nice. Right? He wants me to come here and be nice. I'm embarrassing him when I talk. So I'll say this to you. For me, what we're gonna need is to prepare. You see, all the things they're doing, removing without democracy, removing people, it's really Southeasterners. Prepare for war.
Okay.
We can take the country. Right? Look, first of all, when they have KJ, please let me just conclude. Will you relax? What are you going to talk about that's more important than what I'm saying? There's nothing to talk about here. It's not about rhetorics and talk. Somebody goes and remove a governor and the legislature, and then you're talking. What are you talking about?
We'll have that as our next. Just hold on your fire, please. There are
Okay.
other people.
I don't want to appear like I'm being disorderly or disrespecting the moderator, right? But okay, no problem.
Okay.
But let me hear what Dr. Dominic. What do you have to say about what I just said? Are you going to change and start to deal with true or false as a scientist, as a doctor? True or false? Stop being a sycophant and insulting Peter Obi, and then you want to get respect yourself. A country like Nigeria that produced Peter Obi. Now hold on, Peter Obi. There's nobody like Peter Obi in the entire Africa. Nobody. Doesn't even come close.
I've not had this disruption. Now don't bring disruption. Let's have it orderly. You have spoken more than every other person. You should be happy with that now. Come on.
AJ, do you want me to respond?
No, don't respond.
You have
going
time.
away from what we're discussing. No.
Just give me a chance to respond.
Okay, Ike, please go ahead, Ike.
I will. Okay.
You know you have nothing to say, Dominic. Nobody could stop you. Nobody's ever stopped you here before. Can KJ stop you if you have something to say? If you have to respond, respond.
KJ, let's move on.
Why are you insulting
Dr. Ike?
That's what I'm saying.
all the time? Why?
Ike, go ahead and speak, please. Ike, if you have something, just go ahead.
Thank you, my brother Panshat, for allowing me to speak. You know, Jide has gone away, right? I wanted to ask, does Jide live in the US? I think so, right? KJ, does he live in the US?
I don't know where he lives.
Okay. Because most of the time he uses Venezuela as an example. I wanted to ask Jide if he has ever been to Venezuela before. From my island to Venezuela is about 45 minutes by air or 1 hour. So I can be able to tell him more about Venezuela. Venezuelan people right now, as we are speaking about, are picking bread in the street to eat. This is a country one man has held hostage for so many years. Which election in Venezuela has been free? In the island where I live, you have I don't know how many percentage of population of Venezuela that are living in a very small island here. You know, so I don't know when people they say Google, they read history, they go. You see, there is no history that is better than practical, because when you have the opportunity to go where this thing is happening, you can be able to teach your teacher who taught you history in the university or in the school. When we were in school in Nigeria, they taught us about Mali Empire. It was story. When I lived in Mali for 13 good years. I can teach a professor in the university about Mali today. That's what is important. So sometimes when sometimes I talk about Venezuela, I think this is a country that I've visited several times. That I know that in Venezuela, you're walking in the street, your phone you're holding in your hand, they will cut off your hand to get your phone. Because of what this President Maduro has done to this country. So please, when they are trying to tell me Google, I didn't go to school and I don't have library, but I prefer that when I want to say something, is something that I think is possible, right? So let's return back to our country called Nigeria, right?
All right.
Yes, I just wanted to clear that. So I think that Nigeria, there is no way anybody in Nigeria could do anything in Nigeria without somebody. And if Nigerians themselves decide that what is happening to them right now is the best thing for them, so be it.
All right.
But I think that what I think now that Nigeria is in a state whereby, you know, they say when you push you to the wall, I think this time around, until the wall push you back, I think that we are at the stage we are in Nigeria right now. The wall is going to push Nigerians back. And by the time the wall pushes us in front, if we cannot react, we can't do anything, well, so be it. So the people we have, okay, you said that where we're going. I stopped by now. Sorry.
All right. No, they have chopped all the time. So we're going to stop the next 40 minutes. So if you have a rounding thought, just take it so we don't have to come back to you.
Let me take my rounding thought. What I'm trying to say is that what is happening in River State today, all these so-called professors and intellectuals in Nigeria and they're all over the whole place is coming to defend what your illegitimate president has done. Lawyers. The problem that we have in Nigeria today is lawyers and judges in Nigeria. The judiciary has put this country in a state that to recover this country is going to take so many things to recover this country because of a single decision of few individuals in the judiciary. What Nigeria is going through today is the lawyers that will see black and call it white. With the help of few people, they have put a country of 250 million people in a state that it is unbearable for people to listen to. When I see Nigerians, intellectuals, politicians, on Nigerian television trying to defend what happened last week in River State. I can't. I just felt that, you see, we don't have the National Assembly is gone, right? We never had them. It has always been rubber stamp. But you see, at least my question was, I saw Chief Victor Ume on television the other day. No, I am not part of the people that took $10,000. Did you walk out of that? Did you walk out like Abaribe? Did you do what Tambuwa did? Did you do what Dixon did? You have been in the Senate for more than 10 years. You know the rules and regulations in the National Assembly. A man of your caliber, a man of your experience in Nigerian politics. You were raising up your hand, trying to say you didn't collect 10,000. You did not collect $10,000. What did you do? People like you are the people we are looking up to. People who can tell about your listen, you have gone too far. But where are they? We didn't see nobody. Now it is gone to politics, party line. So I just wish that what is happening in River State, the PDP governors and the senators of PDP and House representatives, they should be ashamed of themselves. With Atiku, who lives in Dubai, only comes back to Nigeria to play politics when it is time to do politics. He's not making alliance. He has been enjoying his life in Dubai. That up to today, I've never had anything from PDP governors. The so-called governors of Nigeria that you know that it can be you tomorrow.
No, the governors spoke. They say they don't want to join issue with Tinubu. So that's why they are standing for now.
Okay, so this is the
because they get allocation from the center. So they don't want to be cut off. Because Rivers got allocation first and then moved this emergency. Soon as they put in the administrator, this former vice admiral, I think, they released the million.
So that's what I'm saying. So it is good that all these people who rode on the back of Mr. Obi to go to the National Assembly, we are waiting for you in 2027. We are going to retire all of them one after the other because we have your names. We know where you come from. We know what we did. We know the sacrifice some of us who are living in diaspora made to make sure that all of you rode on the back of the obedient movement to get to where you got. And today you have abandoned the same people who made you what you are. Look at Senator Ureti. So I am telling you.
Could I point out a paradox in what he just said? 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I want to point out a paradox.
No. Don't point, please. Thank you. Dr. Dominic, go ahead. We're rounding up. So you go ahead.
Let me respond. I always find Pansat's submission very interesting. Well, thank you for the submission. First of all, when I look at what's happening in Nigeria, I look at how the polity is and people in different leanings of people politically. I got enamored with Shore when I saw some of his work. Sahara Reporters, many years ago, I stumbled on Sahara Reporters. My brother mentioned it. I was like, what is this Sahara? Then it wasn't getting that much traction. My brother was like, look at how this guy is exposing corrupt politicians. I was like, this thing probably wouldn't get traction. This is just some, side jobber. He's going to fizzle out. But then he started to expose a lot of things that was happening in Nigeria. So I took interest. And then I saw him challenge, I think, one of the ambassadors. It's on YouTube. And so I was like, okay, this guy is
the foreign minister.
Ansat, give me a second.
Yeah. Well, you need to name it so we know what the tribe of the person who was challenging is the foreign minister from the southeast, right?
The one where this was like from maybe 15 years ago.
That's the one, right? You have to know that. It's important.
There was an event with, and then someone spoke up as one of the people in the audience. I can't remember that video, but maybe that's what the one you're talking about. Anyway, I took interest. There's nothing wrong in taking interest in political figures. I will be the first person to tell you if someone is doing wrong, I'll call them out. At the end of the day, I'm not someone who is following someone in a blind manner. I believe that the kind of leadership that we need to push things forward is someone who is going to be what Nigerians, because Nigerians are very cultural and very respectful. Even when you're being for lack of better, being shit on, Nigerians would, would still show that respect. I'm thinking of someone who thinks outside the box, someone who is not afraid to ruffle feathers, someone who will speak you to power, even though Nigerians may consider it being abrasive. And I see that Sowore is that kind of person. That's why at the end of the day, I am not naive. I would always say it, and I said this before the election, that when it comes to this current political system and trying to wrestle power, you need someone who behaves like Peter Obi, who can be in bed with the with the current order and still be a man of the people. But at the end of the day, at some point in Nigerian history, you're going to need someone like Sowore who is going to get us to that idea. I have traits in Peter Obi that I like. I have traits in Sowore that I like. I don't have to be a sycophant. I can call a spade a spade. So you saying I'm basically a sycophant is very interesting. I mean, at the end of the day,
okay, could I dialogue with you for 1 second?
Entitled to your own opinion. Now,
let's have a dialogue though, so that we can put it to bed.
No, we can't have a dialogue.
I am not here to defend them. I am not here to defend Sowore or Sahara reporters. I have never in this program spoken about Sahara reporters or what they publish. At the end of the day, it is left for him in terms of his professionalism and the way he has portrayed certain things. That is up to him. Here I'm talking about the political mindset of my sort of political mindset. And I'm seeing someone who portrays similar political mindset. Now, whether or not I support him as a president, to be a president, is a whole different case. Even if you take Sowore, remove him, at the end of the day, the way he practices his politics is the way I believe politics should be played in Nigeria. When it comes to his professional life, I'm not going to dabble into that. At the end of the day, people keep saying about tribalism.
KJ, you're a journalist. You're going to have to be able to create something that is fascinating. Dr. Dominique is opening up. Let's
can
have
you
a
be quiet
dialogue.
when you were talking? Passat, can you be quiet when you were talking? Dr. Dominic never interjected you.
Did you hear the way that boy addressed me? Would you remove him? Remove
him right now.
You see,
this is not a Portuguese parliament.
He spoke already. Remove him from the platform. He's a psychopath. He's actually a crazy psychopath. Look, KJ, hold on. Dr. Dominique, what you're doing is speaking in abstract. I'm talking about you. You're talking about Sowore. If you do not, hold on. If you are somebody who's looking,
30 minutes.
How can I get a word in here? Let me get a word.
No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. Please. I have less than 30 minutes, and I want everybody to have a round.
Anyway,
go ahead.
Let me summarize. Look, I have my way of thinking about politics. I happen to see someone who has similar politics and someone who has some level of prominence. And so when I speak about politics, I don't like to speak in abstract, which is why I always use a word as an example. When I speak about someone who has some level of integrity, but still understands in this current political climate, you have to sort of be in bed with the current politics to be able to win an election. If you say want this system to exist, I use Obi as an example. I'm using an example to make things more tangible.
I know, but could Obi be in the room and not in the bed, right? When you say, are you the hyperbole you're using in your knowledge?
I am not.
KJ,
I'm not saying Peter Obi is in bed to be.
You are unfair, and I'm gonna talk to Rudolph about you, right?
Okay. You are disrupting the flow of this conversation.
If you're not gonna live up to being a serious host, then don't do the job. Okay. We're having a dialogue. I have to be able to talk to him.
No, we're not having a dialogue. You see that the mistake you are making. We are rounding up, and
so be in the bed or in the room with. Have him answer that. Is it in the bed or in the room?
I'm going to remove you right away.
I believe that everyone who say understands. When I say the term bed, I don't mean to be an insulting manner. All I'm just saying is someone who understands that he has to.
No, we understand what you said. Please go ahead.
So I find it interesting that Pansan makes these statements about tribalism. First of all, Sowore is a Ijo. The only thing is, and they have their own flavor of a job. The only thing is that the way Nigeria is, some minor ethnic groups at the end of the day gets overshadowed, and so a lot of Soworeans will speak Yoruba, and his name is Yoruba name. But Sowore is a Ijo, and he has said this sometime in the past. But
you heard me say that the Jaws are the worst. So even
our brother, why now, Dr. Dawo?
It's actually worse.
We are giving him respect, and he should listen. When he was talking about me being sycophant, I listened to him. When I'm trying to talk, he keeps interjecting. Sowore is someone who is even when people were saying that he was attacking Jonathan, he could have said, hey, by the way, Jonathan is a Joe, I'm a Joe. But he didn't bother about that. So at the end of the day, his focus is not on tribalism. Same thing, I'm Igbo, and I ascribe to someone else political leanings.
Okay.
Someone says, "Oh, Paul is against Igbos." I find it laughable. There are Igbos who ascribe to Showore's type of politics. So all this thing about
I need to run. Thank you. I have
Showore is not even a Yoruba man. So
and hold on. Thank you, Dr. Dominic. Sorry for cutting in.
Yeah,
I have some big wigs behind who want to say at least let them have a bite before we end the show.
So let me round up my thoughts then.
Yes,
right?
go ahead. Thank you, Dr. Dominic.
Well, yeah. So, look, Dr. Dominic, I think you're very well spoken. I have no issues really with you. Well, why? I just said, look in the mirror. When you said, when you mention Obi, some people become sensitive. I said, why don't you see yourself also being sensitive? It's easy to talk about other people, not talk about yourself. When they mention Showore, you flare up too. It's the same thing. Everybody has the person that they believe your ideology is Showore. It's not. I don't like revolutionaries, for sure, because revolutionaries have always made the worst leaders. If you look at history, look it up. The revolutionaries have always turned out to be the worst dictators, in history. So, the idea that Showore is going to just become president and lock up all the bad guys and then Nigeria will become utopia. It's a joke. It's not true. When we look at the, lens of history, what we are talking about is, when you say Showore was involved in clearing the path for APC to come in, some people say, oh, it's not true, but it's true. We saw him rejoicing, and it's not a bad thing. Like, he plays his politics. And when you mention, nobody wants to talk about Showore making money from all his gigs. Nobody talks about, people donating money to Showore who may be questionable. People don't want to bring that. Look, personally, and this idea that you're selling, that Nigerians show respect. Well, you live abroad. You don't believe that, right? People don't believe that about us. People don't see, most of the other people that I've met that are not Nigerians. One thing they identify us with as people who don't show respect. Compare us to other Africans. So when you keep talking about us as people, no, we are subjugated people. It's different from showing respect. People don't. Do you think people in go to Obalende and try? Nigerians don't show any respect to anybody. Go and enter bus and tell somebody to ship for you that you're from America. You see now. Then you come back and report.
Let me just cap this off, and I'll leave. KJ, let me say something.
Let me just land. Let me land, and then you continue. So
you're never gonna land, even though I agree with you all the time, right? But you still gotta land.
No,
even when I agree
you don't agree with me all the time.
But let me just say one thing that I'm gone.
My time.
No, I'm gone after I say what I'm gonna say. It's gonna be peaceful.
Finish.
All this needed to me already.
Yeah, he can have the time.
Look, I'm only gonna be 30 seconds and I'm gone. I'm not into all this talk with all of you. Right? It's time to take action. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna say to Dr. Dominic, let me tell you, Peter Obi and Showore, first of all, they should work together, because Showore comes out and he says that his whole thing is about corruption. I used to call him years ago, maybe 15 years ago, maybe 14 years ago. I say, hey, you keep writing about corruption. A lot of people are getting killed in our country. He didn't care about anything like that. He has no empathy. But the Nigerian people, they're savvy. They've looked at two of them in the last election. We waited. Let's show the contest. Let P2B contest. But at some point, just like here in the United States, it boils down to a binary choice. At that point, then you're supposed to choose between two camps. So now, here are the virtues that I'm talking about. If P2B goes to a barber, he's going to say, take it down. And they're going to cut his hair down so that, number one, it doesn't grow back in a couple of weeks and he has to spend more money. Maybe he use that money and give to somebody else to get a haircut. But Showore will go there and say, give me an Agilo. Have you seen Showore's haircut? Say, guy, It's a guy man's haircut.
You have
right?
1 more minute. One more minute.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that the difference between the two is not just about who has been accused, because even if you look at that, P2B has never been accused by the government of any kind of crime. Showore has been accused of the worst, including fraud, but we don't believe the government.
Okay.
Showore is one of ours, but we cannot have him do the harm he did to Jonathan. Jonathan, between just one more second, I know this is important. Between Jonathan and so it's not a P2B phenomenon. When you had Jonathan and you had Buhari, Showore lacked judgment. He said that they're both the same, or even that Jonathan is worse, that he's corrupt.
Okay.
So right now, all these Abadorians and all these Ronus, they want Jonathan back because he's better. So now I want you to change because, like I said, Dominic, you're a doctor, you're a young man, right? You're well spoken. You want to get out of that camp. I don't know what the Showore has done with you over there.
Yes. Dexter, can you go ahead? You have 2 minutes. 2 minutes, Dexter.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Unfortunately, people have been arguing over things. Well, one thing I want to say, the whole Nigerian situation, especially the River State situation, one thing that has been going through my mind is the occurrence of how, it's because of the beggarly nature of Nigeria. That's why this is happening. The only reason why the president is doing this, the resources are the resources located in River State for the River State people. But the whole nation is trying to get their hands on it. Nigeria will only work if we get back to the system whereby the states or the regions own their resources and pay tax to the government. That's the only way, because there's no other equation that is going to work. There's no other equation that is going to work. The states have to own their own resources and pay tax to the federal. So that, of course, the president just comes and hijacks the thing and says our patronage, our what do you call it? Our national wealth. And then River State, the creeks of River State is one of the most underdeveloped places in Nigeria. You will see the money of the oil in places like Lagos, Abuja, and some other places. You won't see it in River State. You won't see it there. So, this, first of all, I think even the followers in Nigeria, we don't even know what we are chasing. This chasing of governors are going to Abuja, come and give beggarly nature of every governor. Oh, they are getting more money. I listened to the Attorney General. Oh, states are now getting more. Are they beggars? Are they beggars? They should unleash. They should leave. Let the Nigerian people be productive. This idea of the whole military, because that comes from the military era where and it was all about subjugation, where people want to just grab everything and say, okay, we'll be giving you coins. We'll be giving you coins.
Thank you, Dexter. I really appreciate your short conclusion. Yeah, Mr. Tony.
Yeah, KJ, can you pass it over? Can you pass it over to the next person? I need my turn.
KJ,
okay.
As forefathers has been here for a while. Has forefathers spoken?
No, I want to take forefather and diaspora as last people because they probably have more like 5 minutes. So I'm trying to get everybody to quickly round up. And yeah, so that is done. Mr. Jide, you have 2 minutes.
And I apologize for how.
Mr. Tony, please, and don't go, Mr. Tony, please. Don't go, please. Don't go. Just wait.
Okay, can I talk now? Okay.
Yeah, you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you so much, KJ. Yeah, thanks so much. I needed to reply to Mr. Ike. So when I mentioned Venezuela, I'm not saying Venezuela is developed. I never said Venezuela is developed. I think we should stop taking things out of context. But Ike is like I see him as a father figure and stuff. I respect him a lot. So this is the thing. I'm talking about national sovereignty. You can have national sovereignty and you may be underdeveloped or developed. That was what I was saying. Nigeria do not have any national sovereignty. Dexter brought up a brilliant idea about states or regions controlling their resources. The reality is, Nigeria under Western imperialism, we cannot control our resources. We have to break away from Western imperialism politically. But are people even informed about Western imperialism? No, they are not. It's about who is better, Peter Obi or Showore. And mind you, I'm not pro-Showore. Even though I don't hate Showore, I respect his activism. I love it. I cherish it. However, my concern about Showore has always been that if he comes to power as the president, he's still going to have to fight with not just political caucus. We have to ask all to fight with the House of Reps and Senate to actually even implement its ideas. It will be difficult under the current system that we have. But I'm not pro-Showore, I'm not obedient. I don't know some people who accuse me of being Showore. I'm not pro-Showore, even though I expect and I value his activism. So I need to clarify that. Soviet Union was developed under sanctions. Cuba, they're not developed, but they have one of the best healthcare in the world, and they're under American sanctions. Venezuela currently is underdeveloped. Iran, they have one of the best technological and security architecture in the world, and they're under sanctions. China, currently they're being contained by the US, but China is probably one of the is the biggest manufacturing country in the world right now. So what I'm saying is Nigeria should have its national sovereignty. Then we can start talking about development. I'm not saying Venezuela is developed. Thank you. And I don't use Google. I read books. I don't use Google.
Thank you so much.
I use books. I don't Google.
Thank you so much, Jide. I appreciate that. I just want to say that one of the indices you didn't mention in all those countries you called as that they have zero tolerance for corruption, especially China and
China. Yes.
Iran.
Yes.
Iran.
Yes.
So we still have that that so many drug monster in Nigeria that is consuming the people of Nigeria. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that roundup. Mr. Akansina, yes, support diaspora voting. It's your turn now. You have 4 minutes because you're not spoken before now. So
all right,
round up,
guys. Have a good week. Take care. Bye.
All right,
guys,
thank you too. Bye.
But you said 5 before now.
I said 5 before, but some people don't chop 1 minute come out. So, but you can go ahead.
Hello everybody, how you doing? Happy weekend, and I hope I wish you the best coming week ahead anyway. But what I just wanted to say here is look, we really have to do something. We've seen this past week or weeks or even up to a month what Nigeria has become. And my brother, trust me, it's not funny. It's not something to even be talking, arguing, gisting, or just talk about and just let it go. I mean, his actions is needed right now. I mean, I think somewhere we are happy Nigerians like that because we are in diaspora making money more than those in Nigeria. So we're not pretending to care. You understand? But if it's our family, blood family that are really there, affected, probably would have done more, more than talking. So I have always advocated for this. I think in the last American election, they did it, or probably they talked about it, diaspora voting. And look, we should leave this our comfort zone in wherever we are in diaspora and put more force, you understand, so that we in diaspora should have a say. Because from the research I did, even asking some government officials, I discovered that 2024, Nigeria made about almost $25 billion from remitter and diaspora annually. You understand? How much is Lagos State's budget? That money will take care of, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 7 or 8 states' budget. That money that they made from diaspora. So if we can make this much funds for Nigeria, we don't have a say. We can't vote. I mean, this country is just nosediving day by day. Every day you wake up, you turn on your channel's TV or Arise, you see rubbish. How do you people hear this and just keep quiet and just come here and talk about it and you go to sleep? The next day you wake up, another stupid news. We should talk about it and you go to sleep. If we talk about it and it's still happening, why not change our strategy? Like, okay, no, people will start acting. Just talking. Probably they are hearing that like, it's only talking, you know how to talk. Don't worry. Talk will not kill us. Maybe let's act. If we diaspora do something, if we can make this much money for Nigeria, a money that can run 8-10 state budgets, we can't have the say. We only go back to Nigeria and adjust with them there and complain. We'll come back here, we'll still complain. We can't have a say. You understand? So why can't we just in our own way? Look, we go to meetings or whatever. We have this Nigerian diaspora meeting, Nigerian meeting, Igbo meeting, Igbo Union, Yoruba Union, Hausa Union, Edo Union, Ijaw Union in diaspora. Can't we just speak like, come on, man, enough is enough of hearing all this bullshit. Enough is enough. Let's act.
Okay.
If we will just like, okay, let's if we can't fight them, yes, at least we know there's power in numbers. We can vote and yes, let's put diaspora voting in that constitution. We can force them at I'm pleased that we can do it. We're just doing this because we're just okay. Nobody wants to sacrifice their 1 hour because they make money per hour or their daily time. Nobody wants to waste that money, their time to go and fight for Nigeria. Why? Because they're sitting comfortable in Nigeria. I mean, when will this stop? When will this stop? When will it stop? When?
That's supposed to be one topic we'll discuss today, but we didn't get to get there. But I want to let you know that, you see, if you want to, this is my policy. If I go to Dr. Dominic to ask for a loan or ask for him to assist me with $10, if I go to Dr. Dominic and say, Dr. Dominic, I need $10, I have $5, he'll be more obliged to give me $5 to complete my $10. Then when I go to him and say, I need $10, and he asks me, so how much do you have? I say, I have nothing. Okay? Now, I give that example because of what is happening right now in Rivers State, like you mentioned. The people of Rivers are quiet. They've all gone to their houses. They've slept. The traditional rulers got themselves together to welcome the administrator that we are fighting and shouting she cannot go and take office.
Eyes up.
No,
they sat down.
Exactly. It will affect us even if they keep quiet and we don't.
Hold on. I don't want to prolong this. I just want to give you how far. Now, his Fubara's chief of staff is the one telling the administrator that the rule of the River State House of High Court does not matter. It's not binding on him. He should go ahead. Who is acting on his behalf? Are they not the same staff? So these are the complicities that are there. That we all need to take into account.
They are politicians. They are politicians. They can say anything.
What about the individuals in the state? What are they doing? Those who are directly affected by the policy, what are they doing? But let's leave that. Let me not prolong it. Forefather, you have the floor. If I speak the truth, yes. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming. Next week, I can assure you that Dr. Damage is going to come in with this topic. I will discuss them extensively. We didn't touch also on the Nnamdi Kanu's starting the retrial of Nnamdi Kanu and his new team and all that. We couldn't discuss all that. But as the week goes by, we'll discuss all that. Thank you so much. Forefathers.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me, KJ. Greetings to the panelists, including everyone there, and Dominic. Been a while. The chat and the viewers. This argument about Showore and versus P2B. Everybody has their own flavors. My own issue with Showore is that his ideology is not fully fleshed out. And even when he's fleshed out, he doesn't paint a vivid enough picture for Nigerians to be able to follow. It's a shame because he represents the forefront of the radical thoughts in Nigeria. I'm not even sure why he should even worry about political, that's economic these models like socialism or capitalism. We are in a fight for our survival here. And where does he have time for whether you are socialist or capitalist? Where the West will turn on you just because when they tag you socialist, then you become an arch enemy. They use that to justify why they are going to take action against you. That is just one. And besides, Venezuela, I think somebody was saying about Venezuela. Venezuela has a higher GDP per capita than Nigeria. Same to Cuba. Even Nigeria from the 2000s until now, they still have a higher GDP per capita than us. And many of our perception of other countries, the West say that they are backwaters, is actually flawed. We don't actually look at what is happening to those nations. I had a conversation with a Zimbabwean, and I was quite surprised how kind of aware these people were. And they use them as cautionary tale to South Africans to make South Africans not do what needs to be done. People they actually believe that they are going to come through this. They are going through a difficult period, but they are going to come through it. And they are very, very conscious of what is happening in their country. Like they are one of those countries that have their own native language as official languages, renamed their country, kicked out the Europeans, all kinds of stuff. And she was like, the way their awareness of things that are going on in their country compared to the way she was explaining it, compared to Nigeria, it's like we are asleep, really, compared to the way Nigerians perceive their environment. She literally says they teach those things to their children. This is Zimbabwe. It's not Russia now. This is Zimbabwe. They teach that knowledge to their children. And this comes from the fact that these people actually fought for their country. When they got their independence, they actually fought for it. So the way they think is different. Most of those things I was talking about, she confirmed it. That the reason why they were able to kick those white farmers out was because the people that fought for that war were still around. They saw what was happening. Like, no. We are not going to have this nonsense with Mugabe doing that. Mugabe had to go to the UN to tell people that this is what's going on, and they kicked the white people out. But we don't have those people. And the best we have is Showore. The best we have is Showore. Then we have Peter Obi that is a reformer. We are not even close to where we need to be. We went back to using a colonial national anthem within a week. And we had how many lawmakers there? They all rushed and passed it very quickly. We are in trouble here. And it's going to take some serious rethinking and maybe even outside events to trigger us to actually do the right thing. Many Nigerians are beginning to see for once that some of the stuff I've been crying about and telling them about security is quite serious. And I was surprised. Some people were like, people that used to disagree with me yesterday was like, and now they're beginning to see it. This is just now they are seeing it. It's going to get worse, and they're going to understand how badly where we are positioned ourselves. Europe is looking to spend almost $1 trillion on security, and they are not even at war. Just to tell you, and they are already militarized more than us. So why do they want to spend more? It's like, what kind of obsession with security is this? I literally think they are so obsessed with security to the point whereby they make sure of everything. We don't even bother with that. We want to argue whether it's Fubara, whether it's this one, and we do this, and before you know it, time is up, and we pay the hefty price for it again. Our children are going to suffer for it. What is the point? Future versions of us will come on this channel and will be complaining about everything over and over again. That's if we are lucky and we survive it. For me, this is serious, and I really think that our people should be taking this type of stuff more seriously. And if you can think from my point of view, when you look at your politicians, you start thinking that all the games they are playing is not going to interest you anymore, because what you are seeing, what you are fighting for is well beyond what they are talking about. But they distract us with all this and we fall for it. But what can I say? Events will determine the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your submission, and indeed every one of you. The discussion still goes on. We are not done yet. Unfortunately, I'm too emotional to even discuss what's going on in Rivers State. Because you see, if you know come out monkey hand from this, very soon it will turn to human hand. If this can be done in River State and they get away with it, they will find another state to do it. And if your guests are good as mine, Delta is loading, and every other state that is not an APC state. So it goes beyond just thinking that we are fighting for Fubara. God forbid that anybody think that we are discussing because Fubara has been removed from office. No, he was one of the architects of what happened in River State. So what is happening now is that Kama has turned around. Unfortunately, he himself became what the Bible says, that he became at ease in Zion. You see, you don't get, the Bible says make something very interesting. Say if you wrestle with foot soldiers and you can't prevail, or you're tired, what more if you wrestle with horses? So this guy got there and became, somehow he refused to use the power that are left in his possession. And my fear that I've always said on this channel is that, you see, if Nigeria, anything can happen. They can just frame you up. Everybody knows it's a frame up, but nobody will say anything. And that's the question I asked when we started this program earlier. Is it that we have come to a place where we as a nation hate the truth? Because if you look at what is going on in River State, we also on the TV, we saw the law courts, we saw these 27 lawmakers say they are no longer members of PDP. They celebrated, went to party, sang on your mandate to stand, went to the court, declared affidavits. submitted it. And then they realized that the constitution says that once you defect, you lose your position. Then they ran back. And the Supreme Court is justifying the fact that they are still members of that party. They tell us that you don't go to the court to shop for judgment. But the Supreme Court shopped for judgment. What took them to Supreme Court was a case of the local government. But in judging local government, they brought in 27 lawmakers and said they are still members of that thing, and declared that there is no government in Rivers State. Having declared there's no government in Rivers State, Tinubu took it up. And then the Supreme Court said the reason why they are holding allocation to Rivers State is because there is no government in Rivers State. Sim Fubara cannot operate as a lone ranger. The federal government appointed a lone ranger and gave him the 500 billion naira that is due to Rivers State, for which the Supreme Court ruled that it should not be released to one man. Gentlemen, look at what is going on. So when we are all lamenting, when diaspora support is lamenting, I can understand this is what is going on. And then you begin to ask yourself, how do we defend it before our children? When your Peking get up, ask you these questions. Is it that your country don't accept truth? Is it that when you are in loggerhead with the president, then the president decides to remove you? Because those of us live in the US, you know that the governor of, is it MEMS or what? One of the states in America. Trump gave an order and she said she will not follow it. And she was talking right there in the meeting with the governors.
The governor of Maine, the lady, yeah. Governor of Maine.
Woman in Maine said, I won't do it. What you're saying, I won't follow it. So she said,
She will see herself in court.
Yes. And then then Trump said, say you in court. And there was no love lost. He didn't see her and begin to make her enemy. He didn't see her and say, oh, you're against my government. He didn't declare martial law. Gentlemen, we have a long way to go. And let us begin to, just like Loco said, let's begin to plan whether we want to officially use a legal system, find international lawyers who will go and engage these people. Because if we allow this to pass, I'm telling you the truth, my brothers and sisters. Remember that Tinubu's intention is to make Lagos State carve it out like New York. I mean, like DC, stand alone, where he will now be Lord and Mayor. Let us look at what we're going to do. It is not play now. It is not tribalism now. You people are still operating at a tribal level. You don't know what's coming after you. I'm telling you the truth.
KJ, sorry for 1 minute.
Only way
if you give me 1 minute,
governs very well.
Let me say
That's
something.
the only way you can succeed.
If you allow me to say something, 1 minute. Listen.
1 minute. Yes, 1 minute.
The diaspora voting we are talking about, which are the people that are standing against it? The people in the National Assembly.
Yes. Yes, so, I agree.
What are you talking? The same people we send there to represent me and you, they are the people that are holding the voting right of the people Nigeria living as a, because they know that vote will always kick out anybody that we don't want to be president of Nigeria. That's why they're sitting on top of that.
See, Mr. Ake, sorry to cut me. Look,
1 minute.
I look at Facebook today. Yeah, you see Facebook, what it has become now. Yeah, but if I tell you, call Mark Zuckerberg and ask him, did you see this Facebook? This time we founded Facebook, we started it. Did you see this Facebook of today when you started Facebook? He will tell you absolutely no. Things grow. It's like plants. You take one step, you don't foresee. As you are growing, ideas come in and you start amending and you start making perfect. You understand? I will tell you this. In 2020, I think it was maybe 2021 or there, but I don't forget what. A senator from my state, after that discussion, we called him, scolded him. He was senator from my state then. You understand? We called him, look, we have to do this diaspora voting. He brought it on the house. You know who escaped first reading? They kill him. We know. He didn't escape first reading. They killed dead on arrival. We know. So yes. Because these politicians, so you think because they don't know what we know, they know what we are saying. They hear it, but they won't be until we push further.
First
Now,
reason they killed it. These people are
yes,
useless. We are
yes.
supposed to be lobbying them. I think we are going to get it sooner or later.
Now, remember, the only reason why all this happened to River State is because of one man. I said here that Nigerians draft law to favor their friends and cronies. One man's interest. That man is above the police, is above the judiciary, is above every other force in Nigeria. It is his will that must be done in River State, period. On that faithful note,
KJ, just 1 minute. Can I say something? I have been watching the man's video when he was the local government governor, and when he was the local government chairman, and when he was chief of staff. Look fresh, look handsome, and I look at his picture now. There's something happening. Judgment is already taking place.
Okay.
Sorry, and I just say one last thing about this. You see, a man Tinubu is seeing himself like Nebuchadnezzar, right? We remember what happened to him. We don't have control of everything. Let's watch and pray.
Okay, thank you so much. On that faithful note of watch and pray, just that a thought just passed through my mind. You see that America remains the greatest country in the world because somebody will get up and take the rubbish out. That's the why they will continue to be the greatest country in the world until we get up and say to ourselves, enough is enough. We are not going to wait for God to do this. God has given us two hands. We go and take that guy out, or not take him out as in kill him, but revote him out of office. Organize people that can officially vote him out of office, or organize some kind of national assembly against the that will rise up and stand against injustice. Nothing is going to change in Nigeria. It's going to continue to be the same thing. On that faithful note, I want to thank everybody who has been part of it. Thank you, Forefather, for being here. Support diaspora voting. Thank you so much. That is Brother Loco P. That message shall not see you for long, so it's good that you appeared. Thank you, Tony. Tony, you have always been a very wonderful, valuable, contributor. Thank you, Mr. Ike. Thank you so much. You bring a different perspective to the platform. And my brother Odi, thank you so much. You always come from a different angle. I know we don't agree all the time, but most of these days we agree. Maybe I'm going to the right church now. Maybe that is the reason why we're agreeing. So it's good to see you. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you also, Desta. I like, your input all the time is apt. Thank you, everyone in the comment section. All of you did wonderful. Those who agreed with our views and those who do not agree with our views, all of you made great impact. I'm sure that every one of us or every one of you have people who agree with you from what you are saying and from what you are sharing. Our desire is to see that Nigeria gets better. It's not because of anybody's interest. Nobody's going to carry Nigeria on their head. But Nigeria continues to remain our nation. We are only visitors wherever we are, no matter whether you carry a nationality, dual nationality, or otherwise. The only place where your great-grandparents you can only refer your children to is the land of Nigeria. It's either developed for our children or destroyed for our children. But I think the first option will be the best, to develop it for our children and make sure that it's that great nation that we all can be proud of. Thank you all and have a good weekend ahead, a good week ahead. God bless you all. Thank you. Father, thank you for the support, for coming in. We appreciate your being here. And maybe one day we should talk about the issue of security for nations. As you talk about it, it's very good that we discuss it and see all the options available to Africa and Nigeria in particular. Thank you so much and have a good evening, everybody.
Our eyes, oh, compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland, with love and strength and faith. Our heroes past shall never be in vain, to serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Hey, that's so patriots. Nigeria call obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve without a mind.